Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Comprehensive Martial Arts, starting from the leader of the clan. Chapter 1, Song Dynasty, Zhongnyan, Suzhou Prefecture. In a house surrounded by mountains and rivers, there was a huge martial arts arena in the center, and crackling sounds could be heard early in the morning. Master, today is your day to patrol the store. A woman with crystal clear skin and a pretty and cute face stood on the side of the martial arts arena. There was a steaming towel on the tray in her hand, and she looked at the young man in the martial arts arena with a flushed face. Zhang Feng took a long breath, and the arrows spit out from his mouth were like arrows. They hit a big tree several feet away. There was a crashing sound, and the fallen leaves fell to the ground as if swept by a strong wind. He took the towel from the tray, wiped the sweat from his face, smiled and said, "I know." At this time, a majestic-looking middle-aged man walked over with his hands behind his back and said, "Fenger, you have begun to take over the family's property. The Zhang family will slowly hand it over to you in the future." The visitor is Zhang Feng's chief father Zhang Cheng, who is extremely satisfied with his son who has been smart since childhood and has extraordinary talent in martial Dao. The Zhang family is a well-known wealthy business family in Zhongnyan. In recent years, after the soap, perfume and other industries invented by Zhang Feng have spread, they are vaguely known as the first wealthy family in Zhongnyan. Our family's industrial interests are too involved, so be careful about everything. Zhang Cheng looked serious. "Dad, someone is trying to take advantage of our family," Zhang Feng asked with a frown. "Don't worry for now. The Zhang family has stood in Zhongnyan for hundreds of years and cannot be shaken by a few clowns." Zhang Cheng looked proud, then turned his head and said, "Fenger, when you break through innate, my Zhang family will have another innate master, and its position will be more stable." Zhang Feng nodded and said, "Well, it's almost time." In his previous life, Zhang Feng was a developer at an online game company. Before transmigrating, he was developing a game that integrated the world of martial arts. This game includes all the major dynasties of China, Qin, Han, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, Qing, etc., and also incorporates martial arts characters such as Jin Guhuang. At that time, during internal testing, he developed a skill fusion system on a whim, preparing to integrate all the well-known skills in the game. Just when he was fully expecting to fuse a peerless magical skill, the data chaos caused the electric current to flow randomly, and his vision went dark, and he came to this world. When he regained consciousness again, he found that he had become a fetus, and there was an extra game panel in his mind, which was the skill fusion system he developed in his previous life. The system has mutated with transmigrate. It can learn from the strengths and weaknesses of all martial arts, and merge them into more powerful martial arts, which can be understood instantly. Of course, the muscle memory formed by cultivation and martial arts needs to be practiced by oneself. With innate wisdom, Zhang Feng quickly integrated into the world. The world is very big, with different dynasties and martial Dao masters emerging in endlessly. Martial Dao is divided into 9th grade in the early stage. 9th grade is the lowest and 1st grade is the highest. They are also collectively called acquired masters. Above the 1st grade is innate, who can be the leader of a faction or the head of a large family. He is a famous figure in the world. The Grand Master is almost invisible, and most of them are in seclusion. The so-called Grand Master is a person who can establish a sect and is a legendary figure in the world. Zhang Feng was very excited when he first came to this world. He knew where there were treasures in the game. After he got a little older, he arranged for someone to go to the chance point to search for martial Dao secrets. The results were disappointing. Langguan Jade Cave is just an empty cave entrance, and all the jade statues have been moved away. And the Lankavatara Sutra of Shaolin Temple is a brand new scripture. The 9 Yang Sutra in it has been taken away long ago, and even the Lankavatara Sutra has been replaced with a new one. He looked at the brand new Lankavatara Sutra in Shaolin Temple and cried without tears. There are also some opportunities that I haven't searched for yet due to my strength. Zhang Feng knew that for the news about this world, the information in the game could only be used as a reference and should not be taken seriously. With so many different martial arts worlds merging together, the timeline has long been messed up. After experiencing multiple blows, Zhang Feng gave up the idea of continuing to search for martial Dao's secrets. "We can make plans in the future when we become stronger. Fortunately, the Zhang family is a wealthy business family, and martial Dao's background may not be as good as that of the big sect, but it is still very good. There are Grandmaster level techniques in the clan, and there are even more techniques below innate. The Zhang family has been in business for hundreds of years, and Grandmaster level skills are rare, but postnatal realm skills are extremely rich. In order to enrich the family heritage, collecting different martial arts skills has been a family tradition of the Zhang family for hundreds of years. With money opening the way, the number of Zhang family's postnatal realm skills is even greater than that of some major sects. Zhang Feng looked at an interface deep in his mind. Host: Zhang Feng. Cultivation. First grade. Kung Fu. Primordial Origin Sutra. Hautian God, Innate Heaven, Grandmaster Earth. Martial Arts. Ethereal Step. Water Dividing Sword Technique. Start planning more innate scriptures. Zhang Feng murmured in his heart. After groping, he understood the division of skills levels. The levels of skills are divided into Heaven and Earth Xuanwang, and above the Heaven level skills is the Divine level. Transmigrate this world for 18 years, and I haven't heard of anyone having Divine level skills. Zhongjia Zhen's scripture, Zanhai Sutra, can be cultivated to the Grandmaster realm, but it is only Earth level. Xuanhai Jing was obtained by the founder of the Zhang family in a secret place hundreds of years ago. It was by relying on the Zanhai Jing that the ancestor of the Zhang family laid the foundation of the Zhang family from an unknown independent cultivator. Becoming one of the most wealthy merchant families in Zhongyan shows how rare Earth-level scriptures are. As far as Zhang Feng knows, the levels of martial arts in this world were originally divided into levels of cultivation. 100 years ago, an independent cultivator did not have innate level skills. Therefore, a combination of many acquired scriptures was created to create a method that can be practiced both internally and externally. In the end, with his peak first-grade cultivation, he fought to death a mid-level innate master, causing a sensation in the entire martial arts world. This incident has caused controversy over the previous level of skills. The skills that have been practiced to innate are not necessarily stronger than the top acquired skills. In the end, people in the martial arts community reached a consensus. Kung Fu levels are divided based on combat effectiveness and basic strength. Zhang Feng's Primordial Origin Sutra is a fusion of hundreds of acquired skills of the Zhang family, more than 10 innate skills, and the families, Zanhai Jing, so that the postnatal realm of the Primordial Origin Sutra has reached the divine level. Innate realm still only has heaven level because the number of techniques is too small. Heaven level skills are almost invisible in the martial arts world. They are only available to the royal families of various countries and the top sects. After having breakfast at home, Zhang Feng took his maid Chou'er out. The Zhang family mansion is located in the south of Suzhou City, where land is at a premium. The south of the city is surrounded by mountains and rivers, with beautiful scenery. Most of the major families in Suzhou have their residences in the south of the city. It is a truly wealthy area. It was just dawning, and there were many people walking vaguely on the street. The east part of Suzhou City is the most prosperous, with row upon row of shops connected one after another. People were coming and going in an endless stream, either pushing trolleys or eating breakfast at the breakfast spots. Master, it's so lively. Chou'er's face turned red and she looked excited. Zhang Feng spends most of his time practicing in martial Dao and seldom hangs out. As a personal maid, Chou'er naturally came out less often. The skill fusion system is only responsible for transmitting and comprehending the fused skills. But internal strength will not arise out of thin air, it still has to be cultivated by oneself. The higher the level of the skill, the more internal strength is required to break through. It was due to day-to-day practice that Zhang Feng achieved a breakthrough to the first-grade level at the age of 18. In the entire Suzhou, apart from him, there was no one else who reached the first-grade level at the age of 18, at least not one he had ever heard of. Looking at the whole world, I'm afraid it's rare. In this world, martial Dao is extremely prosperous. Except for martial Dao, the others are all side effects. With martial Dao, it's all possible. Even if you take out soap, perfume, etc. in the first place. It's just to raise more resources for practice. Poor literature and rich martial arts are interpreted to the extreme in this world. Medicinal materials and elixirs for improving one's cultivation are undoubtedly extremely expensive for ordinary people. Cultivating power is another huge expenditure. As for other items, such as salt, cement, etc., Zhongfeng has no plans to take them out, at least not yet. Without him, we can't keep it. The Zhong family is quite powerful, but it only occupies a place in the Zhongnan region. Looking around the world, there are many forces stronger than the Zhong family. Soaps, perfumes, etc. are not a big problem. No matter how much money you make, they are just dispensable items. Salt and cement can be considered strategic materials. Too compelling. Once he leaves the Zhong family, he will not have the strength to match it. What happens next is unpredictable. I'm afraid that other people will join forces and eat them until all the bones are left. Not long after, Zhongfeng came to the door of a soap shop. Master. Entering the store, an old man with gray hair greeted him. Zhongfeng nodded. You are busy with your own business, I will just take a look. At this time, it was still early and there were not many customers in the store. Zhongfeng asked casually, how is business lately? The old man smiled and said, thanks to the young master, since the launch of soap, ordinary people can afford it, and the flow of people in the store has increased a lot, which has driven the sales of soap, which has increased by 50% compared to the same period last month. Scented soaps were targeted at dignitaries and wealthy households. In order to expand the market, soaps without fragrance were added to facilitate the common people and drive traffic to the store. As the old man spoke, he presented the store's account book. Master, please take a look. After taking the account book, he used familiar Arabic numerals for accounting. This was the rule established by Zhongfeng. He had not been in charge of the family business before, but many of the rules of the Zhong family were set by him. Bao Guo used Arabic numerals to keep accounts, which was simple and clear at a glance. Plus the invincible multiplication table. Under Zhong Feng's training, the shopkeepers of each shop in the Zhong family can stand alone. I glanced at the accounts and found that in just half a month, the profit of one store exceeded 2,000 taels. The monopoly business is really hugely profitable. An ordinary family of 4 can only spend about 20 taels per month. The profit of one store in the Zhong family is equivalent to the monthly expenses of thousands of ordinary people, not counting other stores and shops in other cities. Zhongfeng read the accounts and found no problems. He nodded and said with a smile, work hard and I will marry Huzi a wife next year. Huzi is the son of the shopkeeper, a son of the Zhong family. He has served the Zhong family for generations, and he and the Zhong family have both prospered and suffered losses. Hearing this, the shopkeeper said excitedly, thank you, master, for the promotion. Zhongfeng turned around and continued walking to the shops of other industries next door. I came down in one morning and inspected most of the shops. The Zhong family's headquarters is in Suzhou, and the store managers are basically the sons of the Zhong family. Their loyalty to the family is guaranteed. Those who have been disloyal for so many years have basically been eliminated. Seeing that there was no big problem, Zhongfeng took Chuer on horseback to the factory that produces perfume and soap. The factory covers a large area and is located in the suburbs. About half an hour later, the two arrived at the factory. There is no such thing as intellectual property in this world, so the Zhong family guards the formula very strictly. Unlike the hustle and bustle outside the store, the inside and outside of the factory are like military camps. Zhongfeng found more than 10 open and hidden sentries outside the factory, one post every 5 steps and one sentry every 10 steps. Master. Turning over and dismounting, the Zhong family guard guarding the gate bowed his hand when he saw Zhongfeng. Zhongfeng took out his personal token and handed it to the guard. After careful inspection, the guard held it up with both hands and said, Master, let me place the horses. Thanks for your hard work. Zhongfeng casually handed the rope to the guard. In this world, techniques such as disguise and bone shrinking are not uncommon. Anyone who enters a factory must show a token. Is second uncle here? Zhongfeng turned around and asked. Second master is sitting in the hall. The guard said, cupping his hands. Zhongfeng nodded, turned and walked into the factory lobby. In the lobby, Zhongheng was drinking tea. He saw footsteps and looked up. Second uncle. Zhongfeng greeted with a smile. Sit. Zhongheng waved his hand and said with a smile, your kid is finally born, he is about to break through. After finishing speaking, I poured a cup of tea. Zhongfeng sat down, took the teacup and drank it in one gulp, almost. Zhang Feng's parents had 3 brothers and sisters. Zhang Cheng was the eldest, and Zhang Heng was the second. They also had an aunt who was married to the governor of Zhongnan province and was considered the official supporter of the Zhang family. The factory was so important that Zhang Heng personally took charge of it to ensure that the formula was not leaked. The first motto of the Zhang family is unity, and the relationship between the same clan is extremely harmonious. In addition, Zhang Heng has only one daughter, and in Zhang Feng's generation, he is the only male in the direct line of the Zhang family. Therefore, Zhang Feng is the unquestionable heir of the Zhang family, and there are fewer nonsense things to do. Second uncle, I heard from my father that things have been a bit uneasy recently. Zhang Feng put down the cup and asked intently. Zhang Heng took a sip of tea, took out a letter from the drawer, handed it to Zhang Feng and said, "Read it yourself." Zhang Feng took the letter and glanced at its contents. This letter was sent by the secret guard of the Zhang family. The secret guard received the news that there would be some unsighted guys making plans along the way for the Zhang family's next shipment of perfume to Hangzhou. The price of perfume is comparable to its weight in gold, and its production is extremely small. Only the ladies of high-ranking officials and wealthy families can afford it. It's not surprising that he was targeted. Qingfang Village. Zhang Feng put down the letter and frowned. The creditors in Qingfang Village are only upper 3 grades. How dare you take advantage of my Zhang family? Zhang Heng shook his head. There is nothing to be afraid of in Qingfang Village, we are only afraid of wolves and tigers. Then he narrowed his eyes and said, "You haven't killed anyone yet." Zhang Feng shook his head. Since transmigrate, my practice has gone smoothly, I have never encountered any bottlenecks, and there is no need for experience. The Zhang family is the overlord in Suzhou City. When walking on the street, it is too late for others to please them. So far, they have never encountered an enemy. As someone who comes from the age of the information explosion, Zhang Feng naturally knows how dark the ancient times were, not to mention an era where masters are prevalent. Killings are happening every moment in unknown places in the world. But Zhang Feng had previously focused on cultivation, and those life and death struggles naturally blocked him. It's time for some blood. Zhang Heng put down his teacup and said seriously, "You are the heir to the Zhang family, and the future burden is destined to fall on you. Martial Dao is the foundation, and killing is essential. Your martial Dao talent is beyond even the reach of your ancestors. The only thing you lack is experience. In the Zhang family, and even in Suzhou City, not many people dare to target you openly. Outside of Suzhou, it's not necessarily the case. Those Green Forest bandits even dare to rob the government's money. Not to mention my Zhang family." Zhang Feng nodded. Fortunately, the Zhang family made a lot of money. As long as they had enough money, there were many people who would work hard. Perfume and soap factories are located at the base camp to ensure foolproof recipes. Other cities need to purchase goods from Suzhou. Objectively, it limits the speed of cargo flow. Fortunately, the Zhang family understands the idea of making money together. Selected some partners, except Suzhou, wholesaled soap and soap to partners in other cities, eliminating the trouble on the road. Because the production volume of perfume is too small, it is an exclusive business. The Zhang family cooperates with major escort agencies. Almost all the famous escort agencies in Suzhou City have business dealings with the Zhang family. Using the escort agency's connections on Green Forest Road, the perfume was successfully delivered to various places. What did the escort say? Zhang Feng asked. According to common sense, the forces on Green Forest Road would give more or less face to the escort agency and the Chamber of Commerce. We all know the difference between a full meal and a full meal. If you encounter a powerful Chamber of Commerce and escort agency, you might be destroyed directly. For weak chambers of commerce, if others change their ways, these Green Forest villages will suffer the most. This Qingfang village is a bandit, Zhang Heng said calmly. No wonder. Zhang Feng suddenly realized, only gangsters can make a fortune. After fishing, I hid in the mountains and continued working in another place. The risk is high and the return is high. For large-scale cottages with a large number of people, a place that is easy to defend but difficult to attack is usually chosen as a fixed base to collect tolls. Of course, if the amount is too large, taking desperate risks is not ruled out. Let me take a trip. After thinking about this section, Zhang Feng opened his mouth and said. Zhang Heng nodded and said, that's fine. Only the leader of Qingfang village is a master of the upper 3 grades. With your ability, it's not difficult to deal with it. But remember, accidents are everywhere, and the information may not be accurate and can only be used as a reference. Once you lose, withdraw immediately. You will never make enough money. I see. Then tomorrow morning, just wait at the city gate. After leaving the factory, Chou'er said worriedly, Master, I will join you tomorrow. Chou'er was adopted by the Zhang family since she was a child. Martial Dao is very talented and is now at the peak of 4th grade, just 1 step away from the upper 3 grades. Okay, are you afraid of seeing blood? Zhang Feng touched Chou'er's head and asked with a smile. Master, I'm not afraid. Chou'er looked determined. When they got home, Yang's father and Yang's mother were both there. When Zhang Feng came back, Yang's mother came up to him and asked, how was my son's inspection today? Zhang Feng informed him about the inspection and also told him about going to Hangzhou with the caravan tomorrow. Yang's mother looked worried, but Zhang Cheng waved his hand and said, the young eagle will always soar. Fenger's 1st grade peak cultivation has a solid foundation and is enough to make a name for herself in the world. The people who travel around the world are mainly in the postnatal realm. As long as they are not particularly unlucky, 1st grade is enough to run rampant. Innate is already a big boss and is in charge of a large family. Characters above innate will not fall out easily. After Yang's mother dinged her instructions, Zhang Feng entered the door and opened the secret compartment of the room. I saw gold wire inner armor, various bottles and jars, healing pills, poison-avoiding pills, etc. all turned out. When walking around the world for the first time, you can never be too careful. It is always a good idea to prepare more life-saving things. Early the next morning, 2 people and 2 horses, Zhang Feng took Chou'er and rushed to the city gate. At the city gate, the Zhang family's caravan has been waiting for a long time. Nearly 30 people accompanied him, guarding the carriage filled with perfume in the middle. Seeing Zhang Feng coming, the leader pretended to be a man and said, I've seen the young master. This person is a captain of the Zhang family's caravan, named Song Qing, with a 3rd grade cultivation level. The upper 3 grades can be regarded as well-known figures in the world. Under normal circumstances, it is enough to protect the safety of a caravan. But this time the perfume was too expensive, so it was not enough. Rao Shizhong's family has been recruiting experts from all over the world in recent years, and its personnel are also stretched thin. Especially upper 3 grades masters. There is usually no shortage of small money. Just find a wealthy family to beg for alms, and you can guarantee your food and clothing, so why bother to join someone else's family and suffer all the constraints? Unless it is something extremely attractive, such as secrets of skills and various genius treasures. The Zhang family has only collected a dozen innate techniques over hundreds of years, which shows how rare the techniques are. Even if you are an upper 3 grade master, you must have made enough achievements before you will be given a skill. Relatively speaking, retainers trained by oneself are more reliable. Zhang Feng nodded and said, let's go. Song Qing shouted at the team, let's go. The group of people drove along the road towards Hangzhou. Zhang Feng followed the convoy and asked, tell me what you need to pay attention to on the road. It was his first time doing business, and Zhang Feng was not clear about the details of doing business, so Zhang Feng was a little curious. Okay, master. Song Qing collected his thoughts and said slowly, the first thing you need to pay attention to is your diet. From departure to destination, try to eat the food you brought with you. In special circumstances, try not to eat food of unknown origin. Zhang Feng nodded when he heard this. Song Qing continued, the second thing is to stay. Usually we don't stay in inns. Even on rainy days, we give priority to temples and other places. If we have no choice, we must leave enough people to keep vigil in ventilated places to ensure that the goods are not out of sight. Zhang Feng thought secretly when he heard this. The requirements for being a businessman are much stricter than imagined. It is almost impossible for a caravan to be knocked down by a dose of poison. The Zhang family has been doing business for hundreds of years and has gone through all the pits that should be taken. If you want to seize the goods, you probably can only attack by force. Song Qing continued talking. For example, Don't mind your own business, be cautious when encountering mountains and forests, etc. All situations that should be considered are being considered. As Song Qing told it, Zhang Feng gradually understood some details. These are lessons learned through bloody lessons. There are all kinds of small tricks to guard against, and you will step into a trap if you are not careful. Before we knew it, the team had been walking for a day and it was getting late. Song Qing suggested, "Master, it's time to set up camp and rest." Zhang Feng nodded and said, "You just have to make the decision." "Yes," Song Qing immediately shouted at the convoy, "Camp on the spot." The motorcade slowly stopped, and most of the people in the motorcade breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Feng felt quite bored after walking all day long. Even if everyone in the caravan is used to this kind of life, they are still a little tired. The caravan was like a well-trained army, setting up camps and guarding in an orderly manner. About a quarter of an hour later, a brand new camp appeared. Later, Song Qing brought dried meat and dry food and said, "Master, please forgive me for the simple food." Zhang Feng waved his hand, "It doesn't matter." At night, the only sound left in the camp was the sound of insects. There were still 2 shifts of vigil outside, and the first day passed quietly. In this way, we marched for 3 days. A rolling mountain range appeared in front of us, leaving only a road 2 cars wide. Zhang Feng asked casually, "Where is this place?" Song Qing heard this and said, "Master, this mountain is Tianmu Mountain, which belongs to the boundary of Hangzhou. The goods can arrive before dark." "What force is entrenched in this mountain?" Zhang Feng asked immediately. He has not forgotten the information given by his second uncle. If you want to do it, Tianmu Mountain is the best place. After passing this mountain, it will be too late to do anything. Song Qing heard this and said seriously, "This mountain is the territory of Tianmu village. Tianmu village has been entrenched here for several years. The leader of the village is the peak cultivation level of 1st grade. The merchants have managed Tianmu village and every time they pass by, there is no problem. No matter how powerful a trading house is, it will contact the local snakes wherever it passes and spend money to eliminate disasters. Although the Zhang family's power is far above Tianmu village. But the Zhang family does more than one business. If innate masters were sent to every place to clear things up, the Zhang family's innate wouldn't have to do anything else. What's more, some forces are complicated, and there is no guarantee that there will be support behind them. Besides, if one of these copycat forces is wiped out, a new force will soon take its place. There is no way to kill them all. Therefore, there are unspoken rules in the arena. No matter what kind of caravan, they will pay a certain amount of money to buy the way. The stronger the caravan, the less you pay. Moreover, the formation of copycats is not a bad thing for large caravans. Objectively, it prevented the formation of many small caravans and raised the threshold for doing business. A small cottage has so many doorways. Reading thousands of books is not as good as traveling thousands of miles. This knowledge is not available in books. I'm afraid this is the real social rule. No wonder the major chambers of commerce turn a blind eye to these copycats. Although the copycats are not kept captive by the Chamber of Commerce, retaining the copycats will be of greater benefit to the large chambers of commerce than eliminating the copycats. It's just some money to buy money, the wool comes from the sheep. With fewer players entering the market, profits will naturally be greater. After listening to Song Qing's introduction, Zhang Feng suddenly realized. After walking for only half an hour, a fence blocked the middle of the road. Behind the fence, dozens of men with knives appeared behind the fence. "Master, these are the people from Tianmu village." Song Qingchao Zhang Feng whispered. Zhang Feng looked at it and realized, isn't this a high-speed toll station? This money is easier to earn than the Zhang family caravan. As long as you don't meet a talented young knight who is just starting out to do justice. Balance the interests of all parties. It's a solid business. It just doesn't have a good reputation. Stop. Song Qing waved his hand to signal the caravan to stop. He took a few steps forward, raised his hands and said loudly, "The heroes of Tianmu village are polite. I will be in charge of the Zhang family's caravan. Please take care of me." After finishing speaking, he threw the small bag of silver that he had prepared in his hand directly. The bearded man on the other side took the silver thrown at him, opened the bag and took a look, but he had no intention of letting it go. Instead, he said, the Zhang family's perfume business is making a lot of money every day, but it's missing. I wonder who you are. Song Qing glanced at him and felt something was wrong. I have never seen this person before, and the skill I just used showed that I am probably no less skilled than him. I'm just afraid of entering the upper 3 grades. Under normal circumstances, the only ones guarding the intersection are the middle 3 grades. All parties have a tacit understanding. As long as both parties are not young and fledgling, the danger is not that great, and there is absolutely no need to arrange for an upper 3 grades master to wait. I am Wu Shang, the second master of Tianmu village. The bearded man replied. Song Qing suddenly thought that Wu Shang appeared here. He didn't believe it without the instructions from the master. Could it be that something happened to Tianmu village? Zhang Feng watched with interest and did not interrupt. Song Qing, who was neither humble nor arrogant, asked, I don't know what Master Wu means. Can you tell me the number? The Zhang family is a chamber of commerce, and they will not fight with each other unless absolutely necessary. If it can be solved with money, use money to solve it. Ensure your own safety first. As for what to do when we turn back, Tianmu village cannot escape here. Wu Shang played with the taste. I didn't know Zhongjia perfume was so profitable in the past. Including the previous compensation, this truck should be regarded as compensation. Song Qing's expression changed. Does the head of the Wu family know what he is talking about? My Zhang family is not a small family. So what? Wu Shang sneered, as if he didn't care. As soon as he finished speaking, a black figure suddenly appeared in front of Wu Shang. Song Qing was shocked. The only one who could do it quietly without being discovered by him was probably the innate master. Brother. Wu Shang saluted the visitor. I've seen the boss. The others saluted one by one with reverence in their eyes. Young master, this person is Wang Hu, the head of Tianmu village. I don't know when he broke through to the innate realm. I'm afraid the person who came here is evil. Song Qing said with solemn eyes. Zhang Feng discovered Wang Hu's whereabouts as early as when he was hiding aside. Wang Hu's aura should have just broken through innate not long ago. No problem. Zhang Feng waved his hand. Seeing Zhang Feng's confident look, Song Qing subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. Although he couldn't see the young master's state, he had an intuition that he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to get past the young master. Is this your confidence? Zhang Feng said calmly. Wang Hu glanced at Zhang Feng. It's not good to be alone. I have entered innate. Isn't the Zhang family's toll less? Follow the unspoken rules. If there is a copycat made by an innate master, the money will indeed be higher. In essence, this is a game of strength between caravans and bandits. How much strength you have, how much money you get. But Tianmu village is not greedy enough, and wants to swallow the Zhang family's car of perfume to make up for the previous excuse, which is like a bit of a lion's mouth. Everyone else, stop hiding and come out together. Zhang Feng's eyes swept to both sides of the road. Wang Hu's expression changed and he looked at Zhang Feng in surprise. Ha 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 ha. With a burst of laughter, some people with insufficient cultivation were shaken by their energy and blood. A middle-aged man with a sinewy face walked out from one side, and about 20 people appeared with him. These people must have practiced the same aura-concealing technique, so Song Qing had not discovered it before. His expression changed, and there was actually a strong innate. Although the number of this group of people is smaller than that of Tianmu village, their strength is probably not inferior to that of Tianmu village. Brother Wang, I've told you a long time ago, just grab his mother's ass, and when the time comes, it will be great to drill into the mountains. The man with a sinister face laughed loudly. Master, they have been prepared for a long time. Song Qing held the sword in his hand, and the others felt like they were facing a formidable enemy. Are you from Qingfang village? Zhang Feng asked. The Hengru man was stunned for a moment, and then he said nonchalantly, if you don't change your name, you won't change your surname. The leader of Qingfang village, He Sandao, is the one. Zhang Feng frowned. The intelligence capabilities of the Zhang family's secret guards were somewhat inferior after all. He Sandao's aura obviously did not just break through, but had already reached its peak in the early stages of innate. In terms of intelligence, He Sandao is at the pinnacle of first-grade cultivation. Fortunately, it was him who came, otherwise, based on this information, the Zhang family would have suffered heavy losses. This time when we go back, the secret guards will have to tidy things up. After all, the Zhang family is just a local business family. The background is far different from that of other major dynasties. The black ice platform of the Qin dynasty, the imperial guards of the Ming dynasty, and the bad guys of the Tang dynasty are all terrifying existences in this world. The training with the power of a whole country is far beyond the means of the Zhang family's secret guards. Intelligence capabilities are extremely important. If the Zhang family wants to occupy a place in this world in the future, they must have intelligence capabilities that are not inferior to those of the major dynasties, or even better than them. There is a long way to go. Zhang Feng sighed slightly. The reason why Wang Hu dared to attack the Zhang family was precisely because of He Sandao. When he thought about it, with 2 innate masters, the Zhang family would probably have to suffer the consequences. In addition, I just broke through and felt a little swollen. Even if I couldn't win, I would just go into the mountain. This pretty boy looks like a young master from the Zhang family. If you tie him up, you can also extort a ransom. He Sandao was indeed an old bandit. From Zhang Feng's clothes, he immediately guessed his identity. Song Qing drew his sword and stared at He Sandao, knowing that he was outmatched, but never took a step back. Zhang Feng nodded secretly, waved his hand and said, "Step back, I'll test their strength." The first time he killed someone, Zhang Feng didn't dare to be careless. He drew his sword out of its sheath, activated the Primordial Origin Sutra with all his strength, and used the ethereal step created by the fusion of many body techniques. With a whoosh, the figure turned into an afterimage and appeared in front of He Sandao in an instant. Before He Sandao could react, a simple stab hit his throat. Aha! The long sword was like tofu inserted into it, piercing through the back of the neck easily, piercing the entire throat with one blow. He Sandao had an expression of disbelief on his face and lost all strength. He made a hiccup sound from his throat and fell to the ground with a crash. Zhang Feng drew out his long sword and was stunned for a moment. He really didn't expect that this guy who was so impressive on the stage could be so weak. Wang Hu's face suddenly turned pale. Everything happened in a flash of lightning, and the main combat power was instantly destroyed by a sword. How to fight this? Zhang Feng glanced around and everyone took 2 steps back. Misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. Wang Hu came back to his senses and hurriedly raised his hands and said. Zhang Feng's speed was so fast that he had no chance of escaping, and cold sweat broke out on his face. Everything is a misunderstanding. As long as the young master is willing to let go, I promise that from now on, the Zhang family's caravan will be free from now on. Wang Hu was afraid that he would be too late, so Zhang Feng's sword stabbed him. The people in the caravan looked happy. They didn't expect the young master to be so powerful. Song Qing let out a long sigh of relief. He was under the greatest pressure just now. If something happens to the young master here, things will be very serious. I still like your unruly look just now, Zhang Feng said coldly. It's okay if you're not offended, but if you're offended, just eradicate it. The Zhang family's business is growing day by day, and they need 2 heads to warn other forces. Seeing that Zhang Feng had no intention of giving up, Wang Hu looked wary and shouted loudly, "Come with me. If we are not given a way to survive, then we will die together." He was the first to draw his sword and strike at Zhang Feng. People who have been around for a long time are never short of decisions. However, Wang Hu's drawing of the sword was still too slow in Zhang Feng's opinion. When the long knife fell, a sword light flashed, a long bloody line appeared at Wang Hu's throat, and a head rose into the sky. Immediately, Zhang Feng rushed directly into the crowd and stabbed the second master of Tianmu Mountain with his sword. It was like a tiger among wolves, with no one able to defeat him. The people from the Zhang family's caravan followed and came up to kill them. After Zhang Feng killed several upper 3 grades, he stopped taking action. Chou'er, you also go up and practice. Zhang Feng looked at Chou'er who was eager to try. Okay, master. Chou'er heard this and joined the battle. In addition to Chou'er's slightly inferior combat experience, the martial arts skills she has learned are not comparable to those of this group of people. It was a bit unfamiliar at first, but after killing the first person, the long sword in his hand gradually became smoother and sharper. Coupled with the 4th grade cultivation level, every time a sword is struck, there will be damage. Devils, they are all devils, run away. Under the one-sided killing, some people finally couldn't hold it any longer. Someone exclaimed, "It's a pity that this mountain road is not wide to begin with, and the killing speed is too fast. Except for those at the rear, others have no place to escape." Choer moved along the rock wall, performing Qing Kung Fu, blocking the way to escape. One man can guard the gate, but 10,000 men cannot open it. The bandit behind looked desperate and said, "Brothers, fight." A flash of sword light flashed, and the bandits fell along the mountain road like harvested wheat. Zhang Feng couldn't help but nod. Choer's performance was much better than expected. Except for her pale face, her strength was very stable. Zhang Feng faced the killing scene for the first time and felt no discomfort. He didn't even have the instinct to vomit. Am I born to kill? He wondered secretly, or was he already prepared for reincarnation in this world? After a cup of tea, the sound of fighting disappeared. All the bandits were wiped out. Except for a few injured people in the Zhang family, no one died. They all had excited smiles on their faces. Never has there been such a smooth battle. "Thank you, Master." Song Qing cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, young master." Everyone in the caravan handed over their hands. The strongest enemies were all killed by Zhang Feng in advance. Otherwise, the caravan must have suffered a lot of casualties. Choer's face was pale, with discomfort after the killing on her face. "Good performance," Zhang Feng encouraged him. Hearing this, Choer had a smile on her face. She was most afraid that the young master would be dissatisfied. As long as the young master was satisfied, everything would be worth it. "Song Qing, do you know where Tianmu village is located?" Zhang Feng turned around and asked. "Just 2 miles ahead, you can see the shadow of the mountain village from below." Song Qing pointed forward. "Well, you guys clean up the situation and I'll go over and take a look," Zhang Feng said with a smile. "After killing the enemy, you don't lick the enemy's back, and you don't steal the nest. This is not the transmigrator's style." Zhang Feng took Choer with him, and not long after, he saw a well-guarded mountain stronghold. Most of the main force in Tianmu village were killed. Some of the strength is still left to guard the nest. Zhang Feng walked towards the village in a swaggering manner. "Who is coming?" The guard on the mountain stronghold shouted loudly when he saw the 2 people arriving. "Choer, go and solve it," Zhang Feng said to Choer beside him. "Yes, young master." Upon hearing this, Choer raised her body and rushed towards the guards guarding the village gate. "Enemy attack," the guard shouted in alarm. As soon as he finished speaking, the 2 guards were cut off with a sword. The 2 of them went straight in. Most of the members in Tianmu village have just entered the first level of cultivation. Shanzhai is not like a sect. The sect pays more attention to inheritance. As long as you worship the sect, you basically don't have to worry about practicing the skills. The days of copycats are past today and there will be no tomorrow, and no copycat is willing to cultivate reserve forces. Most of them are beginners, and most of them are not capable enough to show off. In order to ensure the control of the village leader, advanced skills will not be passed on to the subordinates so as not to threaten their own status. In addition, the people who join the village are not good men and women, leading to deeper defensiveness in the dark. It's okay to fight against the wind, but when it comes to tough situations, it's almost one-sided. "Spare my life. Hero, spare your life." Seeing the invincibility, some people collapsed. "Throw away the long knife in your hand and kneel down to beg for mercy." Seeing this, other people knelt down and begged for mercy. Zhang Feng nodded. Choer stopped the sword in his hand. "Don't tell me that I didn't give you a chance to live. Now you report each other on something that is outrageous and unreasonable. If you report it, you may survive. Of course, if you tell lies, as long as I suspect you, you will be executed immediately." There were hundreds of people left in the village, but Zhang Feng had no intention of killing them all. "I just walked around the world for a few days. There were hundreds of killings. As time goes on, the killings will increase. Doing some things too much will make you numb." He also doesn't want to become a puppet who regards human life as trivial in the future. "You must draw a red line in your heart." Suddenly, he understood that those monks and Taoists always had such and such commandments. Things that I thought were meaningless in the past suddenly made sense. The purpose of the precepts is to draw a line for yourself so as not to get lost. Some monks observe various precepts and are still just ordinary people. Some monks drink heavily and eat meat, but they are still virtuous monks. Discipline is not the goal, the line in the heart is the most important. Under Zhang Feng's pressure, someone finally spoke. I report Li Bao, he once secretly entered a village and forced women. After speaking, he pointed his finger at another person kneeling aside. Nonsense. You are making a false accusation. When Li Bao heard this, his face turned pale and he defended with evasive eyes. Shut up, just report it, I will tell the truth from the lies. Zhang Feng shouted loudly. After the first one, everyone reported it one after another. I reported that Li Yang participated in intercepting and killing a caravan. Zhou Ting took advantage of the procurement opportunity to embezzle money from the Shanzhai. Cao Yuan is having an affair with my sister-in-law. Zhang Feng was stunned. What a talent! How dare you have an affair with your sister-in-law? He is worthy of being the successor of Wei Wu. Ah, I wonder if there is Cao Cao in this fusion world. Zhang Feng complained secretly. As time went on, everyone spoke. That's it. Zhang Feng frowned. Hero, I really didn't lie to you, that's all I know. A little boy said with a sad face. Yes, hero, that's all it really is. Others spoke one after another. To Zhang Feng's surprise, these people did far less bad things than he imagined. He originally thought that with what they had done, at least half of them would not be able to escape. Unexpectedly, there were only a dozen or so people who really touched his bottom line. As for whether these people told lies, Zhang Feng is not worried. Judging from their heartbeats and micro-expressions, the possibility of concealment is extremely small. It may be possible for one or two people, but it is absolutely impossible for hundreds of people. My hero, we usually only block roads and collect tolls, so we don't have many opportunities to do bad things. A little guy said tremblingly. That's right, hero, if you go too far, no one will take this road, and the boss won't allow it. Hero, have mercy on me, I will never be a bandit again. Everyone spoke one after another, explaining and begging for mercy. Swish, swish, swish. Several rays of sword light passed by, and those who secretly forced women and oppressed the people were killed with one sword. On the contrary, they were the ones who gathered to rob, but were let go by Zhang Feng. Whether they do these things or not is not up to them. Zhang Feng didn't care so much whether he did it right or not. Just have clear thoughts. In this world with imperfect laws, the only guideline for conduct is one's own heart. More than a dozen heads fell to the ground, and the remaining people were shaking all over. Who knows where the treasure house is? Zhang Feng asked. Hero, I am the warehouse manager, I know where the Dao treasure is. A goatee immediately said. He is a smart man. Not long after the boss left, he was knocked on his door. He was probably dead. Therefore, I feel no pressure at all to provide information about the treasure house. Take me. Yes, hero. Goatee quickly got up, with a flattering smile on his face, and led the way. Choer was watching eagerly from the side, and Zhang Feng was not worried that these people would secretly run away with the treasure while he was searching the treasure house. Goatee took Zhang Feng to a hidden cave in the back mountain. Two guards stood on both sides of the cave entrance, cupped their hands and said, I've met Manager Zhou. Goatee nodded and said, Get out of the way. Manager Zhou, do you have a warrant from the boss? A guard asked doubtfully. You blind thing, don't ask more questions than you should. You don't have any eyesight at all. Goatee scolded, winking hard. The guard was a smart man. He saw that Guanxi Zhou was like an old servant, bowing to one side with a flattering smile on his face. Knowing that Zhang Feng is probably not someone he can afford to offend. There were not many fools who could survive in the cottage, so they hurriedly made way. Hero, the key is with the boss. Zhang. As soon as he finished speaking, the thick door lock was split open by Zhang Feng's sword. The two guards were sweating coldly. Lead the way. Zhang Feng said. Caution is the boat. With his cultivation and divine level skills, ordinary poisons are completely ineffective. But the tricks in the world are hard to guard against, so it's better to be cautious. Yes. Goatee was the first to push open the door and enter the cave. The space in the cave is not large, about 2 feet long and wide. Entering the door, you will see boxes after boxes. Goatee opened the boxes one by one with great discernment, and boxes of yellow and white things came into view. My hero, all the gold and silver I have saved over the years is here. A rough estimate is that there are about tens of thousands of taels. That's it? Zhang Feng asked with a frown. Goatee quickly explained. Half of the tolls collected by the cottage must be used to control the power of Hangzhou City, otherwise we will not be able to stay here safely. The remaining half is used for the expenses of the cottage. The master's martial arts practice requires a lot of money to buy medicinal materials. There is really only so much left. Oh, who are you looking after in Hangzhou City? Zhang Feng asked with interest. Ahem, Hangzhou Magistrate, Tongji, Tongpan, etc. all have a share. As long as Tianmu village does not attract the attention of the imperial court, these adults will turn a blind eye. Zhang Feng was speechless. Tianmu village killed all the leaders in Hangzhou prefecture. This world is full of dynasties. The area of each dynasty was larger than that of China in the previous life. Administratively, it is divided into 3 poles: state, county and county. Hangzhou prefecture is the capital of Zhezhou. The prefect of Hangzhou is the proper head of the provincial capital city and holds a high position of power. He actually colluded with the people in the green forest behind his back. No wonder Tianmu village is so prosperous. As for whether destroying Tianmu village would bring trouble to the Zhang family, Zhang Feng was not worried at all. His uncle was the governor of Zhongnan province and was in charge of Zhezhou and Zhangzhou. He was the immediate boss of the governor of Zhezhou, not to mention a mere prefect. Zhang Feng looked at the innermost wooden shelf against the wall. There are a few books scattered on the shelves. I picked up a book with the 3 characters, Vajra Palm, written on the cover. This is a palm technique known for its fierceness. During the great accomplishment, one palm can cut through gold and jade. The remaining books are titled Tiger Fist, Iron Mountain Reliance, Wandering Dragon Step, and Yi Qigong. They are all exercises and martial arts practiced in the postnatal realm world, and they are better than nothing for him. Zhang Feng frowned and did not find any innate level skills. He asked, are all the skills here? Where are the skills you, the master, practice? Goatee broke into a cold sweat. All the exercises collected in the village are here. I don't know the exercises practiced by the master. As if he was afraid that Zhang Feng wouldn't believe it, he said hurriedly, maybe it's in the master's bedroom. Lead the way. Zhang Feng put away a few books and asked Song Qing and others to move them away with the money. All he cares about are skills, especially those above innate. His cultivation is not far from breaking through innate, and he has laid an unparalleled foundation in the postnatal realm. Having tasted the sweetness of the divine level exercises, the heaven level exercises are a bit inferior. If it were not for the blessing of divine level skills, how could he cross the great realm and easily defeat the innate master in seconds? This is the advantage of the divine level technique. You two go to Qinping, there is no need to guard here. Before leaving, Goatee did not forget to give instructions to the 2 guards. What if these 2 people don't have a good eye and steal something? Where can they reason with each other? The 2 guards looked at each other and followed obediently. This manager Zhou is quite talented. He is meticulous and can be put to good use. Zhang Feng secretly said, Sir, it's right here. Arriving at the place where the big boss lived, Zhang Feng walked into the room and knocked on the wall. Sure enough, not long after, a hollow spot was discovered at the head of the bed. The wall was broken open with one punch, and 2 books and an unknown token appeared in front of him. One book is an internal skill called Great River Heart Technique, which can be practiced to the innate realm. The cultivated heart is as continuous as a big river. Among the innate realm exercises, it is quite good. The other book is Mountain Splitting Sword Technique, which emphasizes the use of force and force to suppress people, which is quite consistent with the Hexen technique. It is obviously much better than the martial arts left in the treasure pavilion. It is Wang Hu's secret that is not passed down. Zhang Feng was attracted by the last token. He has seen all kinds of treasures since he was a child. But I didn't see what material this token was made of. The token is neither gold nor jade, and feels slightly cold in the hand. A blooming lotus is engraved on the front. Lifelike. Zhang Feng tried to input his inner energy, but the token showed no response at all. Apply slight pressure until you continue to increase the intensity. With the power of his palm, which could turn iron into clay, he was unable to leave the slightest trace on the token. Zhang Feng looked surprised and put the token in his arms. He had a hunch that this unknown token might be the biggest gain this time. Zhang Feng looked at the system interface deep in his mind. Host: Zhang Feng. Cultivation: First Grade. Kung Fu. Primordial Origin Sutra. Haodian God, Innate Heaven, Grandmaster Earth. Martial Arts: Ethereal Step. Water Dividing Sword Technique. Fusionable skills have been detected. Do you want to fuse them? Zhang Feng thought silently in his heart. Fusion. The newly acquired skills and martial arts, as well as the fused knowledge of the skills and martial arts, all appeared in his mind. A quarter of an hour later, Zhang Feng finished receiving it, as if it was engraved in his mind. Look at the system interface again. Host: Zhang Feng. Cultivation: First Grade. Kung Fu. Primordial Origin Sutra. Haodian God, Innate Heaven, Grandmaster Earth. Martial Arts: Piao Miao Step, Heaven, Broken Gold Palm, Earth, Thunder Fist, Earth, Six Yang Finger, Earth, Water Dividing Sword Technique, Earth, Mountain Splitting Sword Technique, Zan. There is almost no change in the level of the skill. It only feels slightly stronger than before. The continuous characteristics of the Dahe Heart technique are slightly strengthened. If you don't sense it carefully, you won't even be able to sense it. His technique was previously integrated with more than a dozen innate techniques and even a Grandmaster level technique. Among them, there are also those who are famous for their internal strength. Dahe's info is not outstanding, but Zhang Feng is very satisfied if he can grow a little bit. If you want to upgrade to the divine level, you must integrate more techniques that complement each other's strengths. The same goes for martial arts. It can be regarded as a slight enhancement of the background. The martial arts mastered, except Piao Miao Step, are heaven level. Swordsmanship and sleight of hand skills are only earth level. There's a lot of room for growth. It's a pity that the integration of all the martial arts skills of the Zhang family has only gone so far. Among the martial arts and martial arts used in the martial arts world, profound level and yellow level are the mainstream. Earth level exercises and martial arts are enough to become the exclusive inheritance of the patriarch of a large family. It's not easy to imagine. After Song Qing cleaned up the corpses, he led the team to Tianmu village. Zhang Feng ordered the gold and silver in the treasure house to be taken away. He waved his hand to the bandit who was kneeling on the ground and said, "You can take care of yourself, so get out." "Thank you, hero. Thank you so much for sparing my life, hero." The bandit staggered up and ran down the mountain. "I'm afraid Zhang Feng will change his mind." Zhang Feng said to Manager Zhou on the side, "I'll give you two choices. One is to find your own way out, and the other is to come and work in my Zhang family." Manager Zhou is a person who knows how to get things done, and Zhang Feng doesn't mind giving him a chance. He looked down upon others. He is not young, and his cultivation level is still around the 8th-9th grade. No more potential. In addition, the bandits have been active for a long time and have become wild-minded. They have neither loyalty nor ability. There is no value in cultivating. It is better to adopt some orphans and train them from an early age. Manager Zhou was overjoyed when he heard this. He knelt down and said, "Thank you for your promotion, sir. I am willing to join the Zhang family and do my best for you." Manager Zhou is not young, and his 7th grade cultivation level is neither above nor below. The best way is to join a force and make your own way in the world. Maybe one day you will be tricked. Joining the Zhang family was an unexpected surprise. "We'll see how you behave in the future, get up." Zhang Feng waved. With Zhou's managerial abilities, being a manager in a store is not a big problem. After arranging things, the group headed to Hangzhou. In the evening, we arrived in Hangzhou. Government office. Li Lian, the prefect of Hangzhou, was sitting in his study. A man who looked like a housekeeper spoke softly. "Master, Tianmu village has been destroyed." Li Lian frowned. "Who did it?" "According to the report from the spies, the Suzhou Zhang family did it." Then the butler reported the cause of the incident one by one. "The Zhang family." Li Lian tapped his fingers on the table and sighed. "Wang Hu is really short-sighted. Does he think he is invincible after breaking through to innate? How can the Zhang family's background be challenged by a martial artist who has just broken through innate?" The manager was slightly worried and said, "The Zhang family has a lot of official power. It won't involve you, right?" "No." Li Lian waved his hand. Wang Hu was not considered one of his, and there were more than one power that offered sacrifices. Sir, the profits from Tianmu village are not small, what about the territory? The steward asked. Li Lian raised his eyebrows and glanced at the manager and said, the Zhang family is a trading company. It will not occupy the territory. There will always be someone to fill it. If he is sensible, let him continue. If he is not sensible, he will be wiped out. Anyone can do it. Li Lian didn't care, as long as he made the offering on time. There is no need to get involved and dirty your hands just because of some money. The butler nodded in agreement. Li Lian explained again. Please tell others not to trouble the Zhang family because of this matter, just pretend they don't know about it. He knew the strength of the Zhang family in his heart, and there was no chance that the people below him would not know the details of the Zhang family, make their own decisions, and get into trouble. Master, I understand. The butler resigned. Master, Hangzhou is so lively. In the evening, Zhang Feng took Chou'er to stroll in the night market in Hangzhou. Although Suzhou has the same name as Hangzhou, Hangzhou City is the prefecture city of Zhezhou and is even more lively than Suzhou. Compared to Zhangzhou Zhoucheng Jinline, I'm afraid it's not much different. At night, lights are brightly lit everywhere and the streets are bustling with people. There is an endless stream of pedestrians. On the street, the cries of various small vendors came and went, creating a lively scene. The Song dynasty was not good at military force, but its economic prosperity ranked first among all countries. Sir, come and play. Passing by a place with fireworks, the old bastard glared at Zhang Feng. When they saw Zhang Feng's appearance, all the fireworks women lost their minds and waved the handkerchiefs in their hands. Sir, come quickly. Zhang Feng smiled slightly, causing all the girls to scream. HMPH, shameless. Chou'er's face turned slightly red and she said softly, Master, there is a saying in Suzhou City. What words? No one can stop Zhang Feng from smiling. Chou'er said with a blushing face. Zhang Feng was stunned. As a fan of ancient heroes, I knew my identity in this life when I was a little older. Unexpectedly, even though he rarely went out, these words still came out. The road in this life is destined to be different. Zhang Feng sighed slightly. If he hadn't been reborn. I'm afraid that Zhang Feng in this life will still be a talented man famous for his appearance, and he is destined to die in the hands of Yao Yu in the end. But, here he comes. Everything is different. Master, do you want to go to Hualu? Chou'er looked at Zhang Feng with strange eyes. Zhang Feng knocked Chou'er on the head. What's your expression? Oops. Chou'er touched her head and said aggrievedly, Master, you haven't broken through an 8 yet. What are you thinking about? The young master just went to listen to music. Zhang Feng said angrily. In the 18 years since I came to this world, I have never visited a brothel, which really disgraced the senior transmigrator. Oh, it's all because the system is not powerful. If there was a sign-in system, a point-adding system, a lottery system, an idol system, etc., there would be no need for hard training every day, and I would have broken through an 8 long ago. Zhang Feng sighed inwardly. Can't blame him. Before primordial origin breaks through an 8, it is best to maintain pure primordial origin in order to build the strongest foundation. This is why Zhang Feng endured it for so many years. If you can't help but go to a brothel, you will lose a lot because of a small loss. He could still tell which one was light and which was serious. Now we are one step away from an 8 and can go see the world. Okay, Master, I want to keep an eye on you, as you told me. Chou'er nodded seriously. Okay, let's go. Zhang Feng took Chou'er into this brothel called 100 Flowers Tower. The old bastard had been looking forward to it for a long time, and by looking at Zhang Feng's dress and demeanor, he knew he was the young master of a well-known family. It's a coincidence that you've come here, sir. Today happens to be the day when my Oriental girl from 100 Flowers Tower will perform her talent. Oh, really? Prepare a private room for me. Zhang Feng raised his brows, preparing to critically watch the performance of this world's Oran. Okay, fine private room, young master, come with me. The old madam waved the silk scarf in her hand, smiled charmingly and led Zhang Feng up to the second floor. The private room is facing the center of the stage on the first floor, with a clear view. Master, do you need someone to accompany you? The old bastard looked at Chou'er beside him and asked suspiciously. No need. just arrange some food and drinks. Zhang Feng waved his hand, and Chou'er casually took out a 10-tael silver ingot and said, "Take this." The old bastard's eyes narrowed. He took the silver ingot with both hands, and said with a clipped voice, "Sir, wait a moment, I will arrange it right away." He wiggled his butt and walked out of the room. 1 tael of silver is equivalent to a common copper coin, which is equivalent to 1,000 cash, which has a purchasing power of about 1,500 yuan in later generations. This is equivalent to 15,000 yuan for a meal. Zhang Feng joked. "Chou'er, do you still know the prices of brothels?" Chou'er's face turned red and she said, "Uncle Zhang arranged for someone to teach you." Zhang Feng wondered. "Zhang Bo even teaches this?" Uncle Zhang is the chief steward of the Zhang family and is in charge of all the servants of the Zhang family. Including the Zhang family's rules, personnel placement, martial arts practice, etc., the Zhang family is kept in order. Chou'er said matter-of-factly. "Yes, the young master represents the Zhang family's face outside. You must learn to deal with some small matters that do not require the young master to come forward or that are inconvenient for the young master to come forward." Chou'er continued. "It's like just paying. If you ask about the price, you will lose your Zhang family status. Regardless of the price, if you give too little, you will be looked down upon. If you give too much, you will be taken for granted. These require training." Zhang Feng was stunned. He knew that maids had to be trained from an early age. "I originally thought that what I was training was reading, practicing calligraphy, practicing martial arts, and the rules of the Zhang family. But I didn't expect it to be so meticulous. Look, what is professionalism? There are so many rules when visiting a brothel." Zhang Feng shook his head secretly. He thought the heroes slapped the silver notes on the table. "Food and wine will be served one by one. Unexpectedly, this will not only prevent people from taking a high look. It will also let people see the background at a glance." No wonder the madam's expression was much more solemn just now. After a while, delicious food was served one after another. The old bastard walked in again with a bottle of wine in his hand, and said with a charming smile, "This must be the first time for you to come to our 100 Flowers Tower. This is the 20-year-old flower due given by my 100 Flowers Tower. I hope you will eat well and drink well." Chou'er whispered in Zhang Feng's ear. Hearing this, Zhang Feng nodded to the madam and said, "I'm determined." Seeing that Zhang Feng understood the value of Baihua Niang, the old bastard thought to himself, "This wine is indeed the right one." He smiled again and said, "Then I won't disturb the young master's meal." Afterwards, the group of people exited the room one by one. Chou'er just whispered in her ears that a bottle of 100 Flowers Tower's 20-year-old 100 Flower Dew is worth more than 10,000 taels, and there is no market for it. Flower Dew is no ordinary drink. It is secretly made from the essence of flowers and a variety of precious medicinal materials. It can help masters of innate realm and below to increase their cultivation. The effect varies from person to person. Even the name of 100 Flowers Tower comes from Baihua Nian. This shows the fame of Baihua brewing. The food on the table is not a magical medicine. It's just that the ingredients are slightly scarcer, similar to what Zhang Feng eats every day. According to the price of 100 Flowers Tower, it is worth the price. The way Zhang Feng and Chou'er acted just now made the madam feel that their status was not simple. In the hope of making good friends, he gave a pot of Baihua brew as a gift. It wasn't until Chou'er told Zhang Feng the value of Baihua brew that the madam finally decided. Only maids from aristocratic families can provide targeted training in these matters. Zhang Feng's heart trembled slightly. Sure enough, there are no simple people in the world. A small brothel madam can determine the identity of others through some actions. Don't underestimate the world's heroes. "Master, let me pour you a drink." Chou'er held the wine flask, and the amber liquid slid into the wine glass, forming a long thread. The wine is clear, with a fragrant floral fragrance floating in the air. Zhang Feng picked up the wine glass and took a sip. The taste is soft at the entrance, with a strong fragrance of flowers, spreading from the stomach. "Good wine," Zhang Feng couldn't help but praise. "With this small sip, my inner strength increased slightly. It is indeed a wine worth 10,000 taels. Chou'er, you can drink too," Zhang Feng said. With his level of cultivation, drinking this wine would be a waste and of little use. "Master, this wine is too expensive, you better drink it." Chou'er quickly refused. Just drink it if you are told. There is so much nonsense. This wine is of little use to me, young master. Zhang Feng poured Chou'er a glass with a smile and said, maybe you can use this to break through the 3rd grade. Only when your cultivation level is high can you protect the young master. Chou'er is 1 step away from upper 3 grades, only one opportunity is left. Chou'er did not refuse anymore and said movedly, thank you, master. Pick up the wine glass and drink it all in one gulp. Immediately close your eyes and concentrate, sit cross-legged, and refine the essence of the wine. After half a cup of tea, there was a pop sound, and Chou'er's aura suddenly rose, more than twice as strong as before. 4th grade to 3rd grade are divided into middle 3 grades and upper 3 grades. It's a huge threshold. Many people have been stuck on this threshold their entire lives. The gap was smoothed out by a small cup of spiritual wine. No wonder 100 Flowers Brewing is expensive but not available. I'm afraid there isn't much stock of 100 Flowers Tower. Zhang Feng sighed secretly. Chou'er calmed down her aura and said excitedly, Master, I have made a breakthrough. Yes, drink twice as much to stabilize your cultivation. Zhang Feng said with a smile. Chou'er didn't refuse anymore and said, yes, young master. The 100 Flowers Tower was packed with guests. The hall on the 1st floor was full of people, and there were not many private rooms left on the 2nd floor. At this time, the venue was in an uproar, and someone exclaimed, the Oriental girl is coming out. A sound of silk and bamboo sounded. Suddenly the center stage was filled with smoke. Then a woman wearing white gauze and a silk scarf appeared out of thin air. Rising up in the white mist, like 9 celestial immortals descending to earth. It's an Oriental girl. Hiss. As expected of an Oriental girl, she is indeed beautiful. Zhang Feng took a closer look and saw a face that was trying to cover up but was still shy, making it difficult to see the whole picture. A pair of talking eyes, half shy and half angry, seeming to stare at everyone. The graceful dance posture and agile body make people's hearts sway. The dance seems to be magical. Everyone in the audience was stunned and didn't even blink. This is the most beautiful woman Zhang Feng has ever seen since he came to this world, and her reputation as an Oran is well deserved. Is the Oran's standard so high? Zhang Feng looked confused, and suddenly her eyes became serious, and she felt a lot of pressure on her body. Although the Eastern girl used secret techniques to cover up her cultivation, only the strong ones in the innate realm were qualified to bring pressure to him. Wang Hu and He Sandao, who were instant kills before, even innate realm, were still mediocre in his opinion. Looking at the age of the Oriental girl, she is estimated to be around 20 years old. Innate, who is around 20 years old, is definitely considered a top genius when looking at the whole world. His Dongfang. Zhang Feng was suddenly stunned. It can't be that one, right? Such a coincidence. At first, Zhang Feng didn't think about it that way. The world is so big, there are no such coincidences. Unexpectedly, I actually met him. At this age, innate can't go wrong 9 times out of 10. There are so many geniuses in the world. Otherwise, Zhang Feng would not be called the number 1 among the younger generation in Suzhou. Just when Zhang Feng was thinking wildly, the Oriental girl finished dancing. The people in the audience came to their senses one after another and cheered loudly. Then, various high rollers in the box continued to reward him. Waves of roll calls sounded. Thank you Mr. Liu from box number 5 for the reward of 500 taels. Thank you to the prince of box number 7 for the reward of 300 taels. Thank you Mr. Li from box 3 for the 1,000 taels. The voices of rewards came and went, and no one with less than 100 taels was called. A reward from just one person is worth 10 years of income to ordinary people. There are many rich people. Chou'er, give me a reward of 10,000 taels. Zhang Feng ordered. Chou'er was stunned. Master, is the reward so big? You girl, master, can I still take advantage of others? Zhang Feng shook his head and smiled. The bottle of wine given by 100 Flowers Tower is worth 10,000 taels. It's like going out to eat and ordering a dish that costs more than 10,000 yuan. As a result, the boss didn't even recognize you, so he gave you a gift worth more than 10 million yuan. If it weren't for the martial arts world, even the most outrageous things would happen from time to time. Zhang Feng couldn't believe it. However, it is difficult to repay favor debts. There is no need to owe a favor just for a mere 10,000 liang. Yes, master, Chou'er replied. Fortunately, when Zhang Feng went out, he asked Chou'er to bring enough banknotes in case he encountered any necessary medicines, exercises, etc. Otherwise, the favor will be owed. Then, a roll call sounded. Thank you Mr. Zhang from Box 8 for the reward of 10,000 taels. Boom. There were gasps of air in the hall on the first floor. Those who can spend money at 100 Flowers Tower are mostly wealthy. Most people are worth more than 10,000 taels. But it is rare to see a direct reward of 10,000 taels. For a time, the box where Zhang Feng was located became the focus of the crowd. Everyone was talking a lot. Chou'er felt dizzy. 10,000 taels of silver were just gone. Once Wanliang reward came out, it seemed to become the center of the universe. This feeling seems a bit refreshing. Is this what a reward feels like? No wonder the wealthy people who watched the live broadcast in the past life received hundreds of thousands of rewards without blinking an eye. Just to see the gasps of a group of people eating melon. In order to hear the female anchor call me, Big Brother. Chapter 11. The Oriental girl in the center of the stage was stunned, and bowed to Zhang Feng's private room, and said in a voice like big beads falling on a jade plate. Dongfang Bai thanks Mr. Zhang for the reward. It's indeed her. Isn't Dongfang Bai the pseudonym of Dongfang Bubai? It seems that Dongfang Bubai in this world is a woman. You are an innate master and the leader of the Sun Moon God sect comes here and pretends to be an Oran. Is this really okay? Zhang Feng complained in his heart and smiled slightly. You're so polite, Miss Dongfang, I would like to thank you for the Baihua brewing gift from your house. Zhang Feng is now confirmed. 100 Flowers Tower should be an industry owned by the Sun and Moon God sect. This pot of wine might have been given by Dongfang Bubai. It is illogical for a madam to give out aged Baihua brew to a stranger as soon as she meets a stranger. Did Dongfang Bubai see something? Zhang Feng was slightly stunned. It stands to reason that he is only a first-grade master and has not broken through innate. In Dongfang Bubai's eyes, it's not like this. Master Zhang, if you don't mind, I would like to have a drink with you. Dongfang Bai's voice sounded again. The audience was in an uproar. Dongfang Bai rarely appeared once, and he never drank with anyone. There was once someone who came here because of his family background, but was killed on the spot. The family wanted revenge and was exterminated that night. Therefore, everyone knows that the forces behind 100 Flowers Tower are not easy to deal with, and no one dares to buy or sell by force. In the box number 3, Mr. Li patted his thigh and expressed regret. If he had known that he could drink with the Oriental girl with a reward of 10,000 taels, why did he wait until now? Ever since he saw Dongfang Bai for the first time, he had been obsessed with it. Every time the Oriental girl appears, he must be there, and the amount he spends at 100 Flowers Tower has already exceeded 10,000 taels. Mr. Li secretly swore in his heart that the next time the Oriental girl appeared, he would reward her with 10,000 taels to make the beauty smile. There is more than one person who has this idea. It's a great honor, Oriental girl, please. Zhang Feng raised his hand and invited. He wanted to see what Dongfang Invincible meant. Even if he has not broken through innate, with the blessing of divine level skills, Zhang Feng is confident that he can remain undefeated even if he faces Dongfang Bubai in the innate realm world. As soon as Zhang Feng finished speaking, Dongfang Bubai floated directly from the stage to Zhang Feng's room. This move made other people's expressions change. With this light skill alone, the Oriental girl is by no means an ordinary person, but a successful martial Dao practitioner. Coupled with her age, the hearts of those who admire her are even more intense. Oriental girl, please sit down. Zhang Feng poured Dongfang Bubai a glass of wine. The slave family borrowed flowers to offer to Buddha and give a toast to young Master Zhang. Please. The two held up their wine glasses. Dongfang Bubai drinks very boldly. Raising his head, the contents of the cup turned into a white stream and flowed into his mouth. Zhang Feng was vaguely reminded of a classic scene in a movie from his previous life. Thank you Miss Dongfang for the gift of Baihua brew. Zhang Feng tried with a smile. Dongfang Bubai smiled, acquiescing. Good wine goes well with heroes. Based on Mr. Yang's cultivation, just don't dislike it. Dongfang Bubai noticed Zhang Feng when he was on the roadside. Not because of looks. But Zhang Feng's first-grade cultivation actually gave her a faint sense of oppression, which surprised her. If it were innate, that would be fine. She considers herself to be a first-rate genius in this world. There were people with the same level of cultivation who put pressure on her. This was the first time she felt pressure from someone whose level was lower than hers. Therefore, after Zhang Feng entered the door, she ordered the madam to bring a pot of Baihua brewing. Zhang Feng understood the reason from Dongfang Bubai's words. It wasn't because of his family background, but his own fundamental aura that caught Dongfang Bubai's attention. When one's cultivation reaches a certain level, people with similar strength will vaguely resonate with their aura. Zhang Feng has not found a suitable way to hide his cultivation for the time being, so it is not surprising that he was discovered by Dongfang Bubai. This incident reminded him that he should collect some techniques to conceal his aura if he had the chance. The Oriental girl is the real genius. At such a young age, with innate cultivation, I'm afraid there won't be many in the entire continent. Zhang Feng smiled. Sure enough, I can't hide it from young Master Zhang. There was a hint of surprise in Dongfang Bubai's eyes. Her hidden cultivation was actually seen by Zhang Feng. In fact, Dongfang Bubai's method of hiding his aura is quite good. Zhang Feng didn't see it. He just deduced from Dongfang Bubai's pressure that Dongfang Bubai was now in innate. As for how far it has reached innate, I really haven't seen it yet. But he didn't say that he didn't know how to pretend. Young Master Zhang is a great talent, but Dongfang has never heard of him in the Zhonggu world. It seems that the Qianlong list is just an empty name. Dongfang Bai sighed. The Qianlong list is a list formulated by Bai Shaosheng, which is divided into the mainland list and the list of each dynasty. The younger generation of masters under the age of 30 in the world are evaluated based on their cultivation and potential. The rankings on the list are quite credible and make the younger generation flock to them. As long as there are people who have left traces in the world, their rankings on the list are basically the same. Of course, there are many hidden masters who are not among them. Zhang Feng shook his head and smiled. The Qianlong list is basically dominated by innate. Zhang is still far behind. But there is no Oriental girl on the list, which is quite surprising. All the Qianlong rankings are innate masters. The world is so big. Those who break through innate before the age of 30 are more than enough to put together a list. On the other hand, there are first-grade masters occupying the lower ranks of each dynasty's rankings. After all, the Qianlong list not only looks at strength, but also considers potential over strength. Some people in the innate realm world are not on the list, while some people are on the list without breaking through innate. Zhang Feng did not directly name Dongfang Bubai's identity. The two met by chance. Dongfang Bubai incarnates as Dongfang Bai and stays in a small brothel. I don't know what the plan is. Seeing that the test failed, Dongfang Bubai asked directly, I wonder if Mr. Zhang is from the Zhang family in Suzhou. The news from the Zhang family cannot be concealed for long, and there is no need to conceal it. Zhang Feng nodded and said, Zhang is from the Zhang family. Dongfang Bubai smiled when he heard this. To be able to cultivate such a talented man as the young master, the world has underestimated the Zhang family's heritage. Zhang Feng picked up the wine glass and took a sip. I don't know where Dongfang girl comes from. 100 Flowers Tower cannot cultivate a genius like Dongfang girl. Dongfang Bubai covered his mouth and chuckled. Please forgive me, sir. I have a special mission to conceal my identity this time. I will tell you the truth when I see you next time. Zhang Feng knew Dongfang Bubai's identity well, so he smiled and said, Understood, let's wait until next time. The two chatted for a while, then Dongfang Bubai resigned and left. The next day, Zhang Feng secretly inspected the store in Hangzhou. Song Qing had previously specifically told Song Qing to conceal his arrival. Zhangzhou and Zhezhou are the core places of Zhongjia industry. There are many Zhang family industries in Hangzhou. Originally, the Zhang family focused on food and cloth. Since the addition of soap and perfume, it has formed four-pillar industries along with food and cloth. In addition, they are also engaged in medicinal materials, or in other industries. These two industries are relatively deep, and the Zhang family has very little influence. There is no shortage of heavenly materials and earthly treasures to increase cultivation and ores to create magical weapons in this world. It is almost controlled by the imperial court and major top forces. The Zhang family's current wealth can only be enjoyed on the sidelines. Without enough strength, it is difficult to get involved. Wenxiangju is a brand store of Zhongjia perfume industry. The air is filled with different fragrances. Rose, jasmine, peony, gardenia, etc. are included. Since the goods were replenished yesterday, early in the morning, ladies and maids from various families in Hangzhou crowded the shops. There are also some young men who buy perfume as gifts, but Zhang Feng's appearance in the store is not eye-catching. Miss, this jasmine fragrance smells great. Madam, the peony is so graceful and luxurious, it suits you so well. Master, I heard that Miss Qingqiu likes the scent of gardenia. As soon as I entered the door, a service staff came to greet me and said with a smile, "Sir, do you need a recommendation?" Zhang Feng rarely shows up, and managers below a certain level don't know him. On the shelves made of red sandalwood, porcelain bottles of different colors are filled with perfumes of different scents, and the prices are marked on the cabinet below the bottles. Feel free to take a look. Zhang Feng waved his hand, looked at the dazzling array of perfumes on the shelves and said, "Chou'er, what scent do you like?" "Master, I like the fragrance of jasmine and citrus," Chou'er whispered. As Zhang Feng's personal maid, Chou'er has a perfume quota. The treatment is no worse than that of girls from ordinary small families. "Then buy one bottle each," Zhang Feng said to the waiter on the side. "Okay, sir." The service staff smiled and said, "It's 20 taels in total. Please pay at the counter and I'll help you wrap the perfume." Zhang Feng frowned, pointed to the label on the shelf and asked, "Isn't the price listed at 5 taels per bottle?" Without waiting for the waiter to reply, a lady on the side said, "I used to sell them at the marked price, but I don't know when the price started to increase." The waiter looked apologetic and said, "Sorry, sir, our labels haven't been updated yet. The prices above are the previous ones." According to past practice, after the explanation is given, the customer will not pursue the matter further. It's not decent to worry about a few taels of silver. But Zhang Feng created the perfume, and even the sales method and price were originally set by him. Isn't it still unclear whether the price has increased or not? As Zhongjia's perfume production is increasing day by day, the price of 5 taels per bottle is just right. If you can't sell a bottle of 12 taels, then the price will be reduced and the price will be chaotic. This kind of luxury product can only increase in price slowly and can never be reduced in price. There is quite a problem here. Let your stewards come out and I'll ask what's going on," Zhang Feng said with a dark face. The service staff looked at a loss. The people around saw the excitement and gathered around. Originally, the price of perfume suddenly doubled, and many people had objections. Due to his status, he didn't say much. If someone is looking for trouble, it's fun to watch on the sidelines. There was a commotion outside, which alerted the store manager. A middle-aged woman dressed enchantingly came over and her eyes lit up when she saw Zhang Feng's appearance. After understanding the situation clearly, he said, "Sir, the price of perfume has indeed increased. I didn't have time to change the label. I'm sorry." Zhang Feng said with a cold face, "The price has increased, or you have embezzled yourself." People around were also making noises. That's right, it's not like he kept too much money in his own pocket. That makes sense. Since Wenxiangju has a clearly marked price, there's no reason why the label hasn't been changed for so long. If someone steps forward, others will naturally follow suit. The middle-aged female steward had a trace of panic on her face and threatened in a deep voice, "The price is this price. Wenxiangju belongs to the Zhang family, not a small family. You better not get into trouble, sir." Zhang Feng almost laughed out of breath. This is how the Zhang family's reputation is used. He said in a cold voice, "Have the manager of the Hangzhou branch come to see me immediately and notify the secret guard to verify the account books." Chou'er took out Zhang Feng's token. When the steward saw the word, Zhang, on the golden token, he turned pale, sweating profusely, and sat down on the ground. Only a few people from the Zhang family have golden tokens. Something happened. Wenxiangju, backyard. The female steward was kneeling on the ground, her face pale and her eyes frightened. Manager Li, the person in charge of the Hangzhou branch, came here. When he saw Zhang Feng, he quickly saluted, "I've met the young master." Zhang Feng put his hands behind his back and asked expressionlessly. Tell me about it. The female steward glanced at Steward Li secretly, and Steward Li said sternly, why don't you tell the truth? The female steward swallowed her saliva and her voice trembled. Master, make atonement. I was greedy and made a big mistake. Master, please make atonement. Zhang Feng flipped through the account book in his hand and chuckled, what a trick. The money the Zhang family earns through hard work is not as good as just mentioning the price casually. The words were cold. In this era, sachets were commonly used by wealthy families. The fragrance doesn't last long and the fragrance is uneven, which is a bit worse than perfume. When the perfume comes out, it will definitely replace the sachet. Zhang Feng had considered this issue earlier. In the early days, under the premise that rare things were more valuable, this inevitably led to the birth of scalpers. Selling perfume is not a bad thing. Scalpers make money, which is equivalent to advertising perfume and expanding the number of customers. But our own people have made money from the scalpers, and no one is speculating outside. How can such a good thing happen if the money does not fall into the hands of the Zhang family? If the manager sells the perfume to scalpers, Zhang Feng will turn a blind eye. But selling it for 10 taels of silver in the store is absolutely not acceptable. Just like a certain wine, can you make money without the dealer's hype? You mean, you made the decision privately? Zhang Feng was noncommittal and asked, how much money did you make? Master, I made a total of 4,000 taels, and I am willing to hand over all of them. The female steward said tremblingly. At this time, the leader of the Hangzhou secret guards came here with the secret guards and whispered a few words in Zhang Feng's ear. Zhang Feng sneered and said, it seems that I won't shed tears until I see the coffin. I leave it to you. I just need to know the result. Yes, young master, the secret guard said in agreement. The female steward was panicked. Who could withstand the tactics of the secret guards? After being taken away by the secret guards, he didn't even think about coming out completely. He went to the doctor in a hurry and grabbed Manager Li's clothes. Manager Li, save me. Shut up. Manager Li broke into a cold sweat. What do you want to say? Zhang Feng said coldly. Manager Li knelt down on the ground with a thud, kowtowing like he was pounding garlic. Young master, I am guilty. Master, please forgive me for the many years I have served the Zhang family. Zhang Feng waved his hand. Take them away together. Seeing that there was no room for change, Manager Li shouted anxiously, Master, you can't do this, this is a lynching. The secret guard didn't take Manager Li's words seriously at all, and instantly controlled the two of them and pushed them to one side. Zhang Feng shook his head and laughed. There is no such thing as lynching in this world. Within the major forces, as long as there is no rebellion, the government will never interfere. In a world that combines great power, why do some people still take money that doesn't belong to them regardless of life and death? Although the secret guards are not as good as top spy organizations such as Jin Yiwei, Bad Guys, and Black Ice Platform. But the means are definitely not something ordinary people can bear. In less than half an hour, the cause and effect were in Zhang Feng's hands. This matter was indeed led by Manager Li. Just because perfume sales are too hot and production is insufficient. As a result, some scalpers formed spontaneously. Get goods from the store and sell them at a high price. Don't worry about selling at all. Manager Li was jealous, so he summoned the heads of several stores in Hangzhou and told them his plan. After all, this matter requires the cooperation of other stewards. In this way, a temporary interest group was formed. In less than 2 months, I made tens of thousands of taels of profit. Under this situation, scalpers are basically extinct. The craze of queuing outside perfume shops is gradually disappearing. What Manager Li didn't know was that scalping was the result of Zhang Feng's deliberate connivance. In the future, when perfume production is sufficient, the perfume retail business will also be separated out like soap. Refer to the sales method of a certain wine and use profits to drive distributors. At present, Wen Xiangju's mission is just to provide a sample for perfume sales. If you want to sell perfume to countries other than Song Dynasty, you will definitely not be able to do it alone. Even the Song Dynasty court was powerless. Wen Xiangju's model has been set, and many powerful forces are coming to ask for cooperation. The Zhang family can also take this opportunity to spread their influence to the entire Song Dynasty and even other countries. Those involved in all this, let them disappear. Zhang Feng said coldly. Yes, the leader of the secret guard took the order and retreated. Compassion does not control soldiers, and there is no need to be soft on the mobs that have harmed the interests of the Zhang family. In the next few days, everyone discovered that the heads of several Wenxiangju branches, including the head of Zhongjia Trading Company in Hangzhou, had all disappeared and had new faces. The perfume is back to its previous price. Based on legacy bills. Anyone who purchased perfume in the store at a high price before received a valuable gift. Everyone is happy. Only those who had met Zhang Feng in Wenxiangju knew what happened. For several days, Zhang Feng finally sorted out everything in Hangzhou. Just as he was preparing to return to Suzhou on another day, Chou'er came over and said, "Master, the Oriental girl is here to visit. Please wait in the living room." "Yeah, I know." Zhang Feng got up and went to the living room, wondering why Dongfang Bubai came here. "Mr. Zhang, we meet again." Dongfang Bubai smiled. "Welcome, Oriental girl." Zhang Feng looked carefully and saw that Dongfang Bubai's clothes were obviously different from the last time they met. A bright red robe shows domineering color and has a unique flavor. Is Dongfang Bubai ready to reveal his identity? Before Zhang Feng could ask questions, Dongfang Bubai said, "Last time I said goodbye to Mr. Zhang, Dongfang said that he would tell Dongfang's true identity next time we meet. To be honest with you, my real name is Dongfang Bubai." Zhang Feng asked in surprise, could it be that Miss Dongfang is the leader of the Sun Moon God sect, Dongfang Bubai? Seeing the surprised expression on Zhang Feng's face, Dongfang Bubai said proudly, "Yes, it's me." Hiss. That smell is coming. Zhang Feng shook his head and sighed. "I didn't expect that the leader of the Sun Moon God sect is actually a woman. It was so hard for me to hide it from the girl from the east." Dongfang Bubai smiled and said, "I didn't expect that Wenxiang residence would be owned by the Zhang family, which surprised me a lot. The intelligence power of the Sun Moon God sect is even greater than that of the Zhang family." Dongfang Bubai pays special attention. Behind Wen Shangju, including what Zhang Feng did during this period, was clearly laid out on her desk. Just some innocuous little business. Zhang Feng shook his head and laughed. What important business does Miss Dongfang come here this time? Exactly. As far as I know, there have been several expedition teams in Hangzhou recently that brought out a lot of good things from the Wangwu Mountains and appeared on the black market. Are you interested in going and taking a look? Dongfang Bubai explained his intention. The Wangwu Mountains are located on the southern border of the Song dynasty. The mountains are filled with mist all year round. There are swamps inside, and poisonous insects and ferocious beasts are everywhere. No one knows how big the wild mist mountains are. In addition to some indigenous tribes living there, there are even other species different from the human race. The living environment in the desolate mist mountains is harsh. But there are genius treasures everywhere inside, and even spirit medicine that is extinct in the outside world can be found. It attracts many adventurers to go to the nuggets, and there are adventure groups that specialize in developing the Misty Mountains. The mortality rate of adventure groups developed in the Misty Mountains is extremely high, and a group of people basically needs to be replaced every few years. However, even so, it still cannot stop their enthusiasm. Without him, the rate of return is too high. Someone once obtained a natural treasure that improved the foundation of martial artist, and directly exchanged it for a grandmaster level skill. This created a big family. There are also people who have obtained the inheritance left by peerless experts and have soared into the sky since then. Every year legendary stories happen in the Misty Mountains, attracting waves of adventurers. The Zhang family has a stronghold outside the Wangwu Mountains to collect medicinal materials, but its influence is not great. In his previous life, Zhang Feng had never heard of the Wangwu Mountains. After coming to this world, except for some familiar names, there are more places that he has never heard of, which makes him more curious about the world. Of course I'm interested. Zhang Feng was moved. The Suzhou black market was jointly established by several large local families, and the Zhang family had a large share in it. From time to time some good stuff turns up on the black market. Hangzhou is more prosperous than Suzhou, so you won't be disappointed. Hangzhou, the entrance to the black market. Two figures came galloping from a distance. It was Zhang Feng and Dongfang Bubai. At this time, Dongfang Bubai was extremely surprised. She practiced the sunflower book and was known for her speed. At first, I was afraid that Zhongfeng couldn't keep up with her speed. Secretly, I might as well have thought of taking a test. Unexpectedly, she kept accelerating, and Zhongfeng kept following behind her. My evaluation of Zhongfeng has improved again. Mr. Zhang, this is the largest black market in Hangzhou, let's go in. The two came to a mountainous location in the suburbs. There is no access road to this place and it is inaccessible to ordinary people. The bottom of the mountain was hollowed out, and the two portals, which were as tall as one person, were tightly closed. There were green vines covering the portals, making them look quite secretive. There are two guards on both sides of the portal. At this time, people arrived one after another, their faces covered. Zhang and Feng were wearing masks, so they didn't look out of place. There is no such thing as good in the black market. Even innate masters can get treasures from it. As long as the value is enough, someone will dare to surround and kill. It is a place where a group of truly lawless people gather. Zhang Feng paid 20 taels of silver. Tickets cost 12 taels per person, which is a method used by the black market to screen out ordinary people. The ticket price alone is a huge amount of income every year. Entering the portal, a foot-wide winding path leads to profound transcendence, hollowed out from the middle of the mountain range. After a few twists and turns, we enter the exchange square. Looking around, what comes into view is a huge square inside the mountain. Martial artist with people coming and going in the square. Everything is in order. There are no shouts of hawkers or the noise of people. There are many stalls in the center of the square. Everyone wore masks and scanned in front of different stalls. Around the square and along the inside of the mountain, shops of different sizes have been dug out. These shops are basically occupied by different forces for long-term operations. In addition, it can also be regarded as a base for finding treasures. Be the first to know about black market treasure information. Once you encounter it, you can buy it in time. Moreover, the black market is well informed and is an important intelligence distribution center, often better informed than the outside world. Mr. Zhang, let's hunt for treasure separately. How about we leave together later? Dongfeng Bubai said softly. Okay, see you later. Zhongfeng nodded. The two separated. Zhongfeng looked carefully and soon came to a stall. Go into the stall. There are different jade bottles filled with elixirs on the stalls. Pills have a long tradition in this world, and the specific length of time is unknown. There are not many forces that can refine elixirs. All the major forces strictly guard against the inheritance of Danfang. Whoever masters the elixir represents a master of stable output. Even though the Zhang family has been developing for hundreds of years, it still hasn't received the alchemist inheritance. The required elixirs also need to be purchased from other forces. The forces that control elixirs are Taoist Gate and Buddhist Gate. Even the major dynasties are far behind. Taoism and Buddhist Gate have been passed down far beyond the major dynasties. If any party joins forces, their strength will not be inferior to that of the dynasty. The background is unfathomable. This is also the reason why they can safely keep the pill formula in their hands. The stall owner is a middle-aged man wearing a blue Taoist robe, with a long beard and an immortal spirit. There was a sign on the stall indicating the price of the elixir. Detoxification pill, miasma avoidance pill, 1,000 taels per bottle. Return to chi pill, healing pill, 3,000 taels per bottle. The elixirs, which are rarely seen in the outside world, are placed on the ground like garbage. This is a characteristic of the black market. Goods and bad items on the black market vary, and there is no guarantee of authenticity. After the money and goods are handed over, the buyer and seller are not responsible. There are some who pick up the leaks, and there are also many who step on the traps. Fighting is prohibited in the black market. It can range from removal to physical destruction. If one person can defeat all the forces behind the black market, that's another story. Such masters are almost invisible on the black market. Normally, there is adequate security in the black market. After Zhang Feng took a cursory look at the stall, he lost interest. These pills are all in stock in the Zhang family, which is not uncommon. After reading it, continue to the next stall. On the stall was a skeleton about 2 feet long, shaped like a crocodile. There is a pile of cyan scales piled next to the skeleton, and the scales exude a metallic luster. The stall owner is a middle-aged man, full of evil spirits. There is a scar on his face from his forehead to his chin, which is enough to stop a child from crying. Seeing Zhang Feng staring at the skeleton, Scarface took the initiative and said, "This is a complete skeleton of a rank 2 alien beast, the green-scaled crocodile. It was brought out from the desolate Mist Mountains. The bones are the best artifact refining material, and the scales can be used for create a self-defense armor." The skeleton still had traces of blood that had not completely dried. It can be seen that this strange beast was killed not long ago. There are all kinds of strange beasts in the Misty Mountains. Some alien beasts have strength equivalent or even greater than that of human innate when they reach adulthood. In order to distinguish them, the alien beasts were divided into grades corresponding to the cultivation levels of humans. Rank 1 corresponds to postnatal realm, rank 2 corresponds to innate realm, and so on. Generally speaking, alien beasts are physically stronger than humans. Like this green-scaled crocodile, the scales on its back invulnerability to spears and sabers. It is difficult for innate at the same level to break through the defense. The green-scaled crocodile also has its weaknesses, such as its soft belly. Even so, he is still stronger than innate masters of the same level. This Scarface is an innate master, and his strength is probably not weak among innates. How to sell it? Zhang Feng asked. The entire skeleton is worth 100,000 taels. These skeletons are enough to make 10 rank 2 swords. With 80,000 taels of scales, it is difficult for innate realm to break through the scales defense. Scarface let out a long breath and said, "To be honest with you, I lost 2 strong men from the innate realm for the sake of this green-scaled crocodile." Zhang Feng nodded. "This price is a real price. Better rank 2 swords sell for tens of thousands of taels in the world." Green-scaled crocodile bones are used as the main artifact refining material, and together with some rare ores, 10 swords can be made. Defense armor is more expensive than swords. It's just that the number of scales is much less than that of bones. Alien beasts are treasures, and their scales and bones can be used for artifact refining. Flesh and blood are used to refine elixirs and improve cultivation. Wang Hu has been running Tianmu village for so many years. Excluding expenses, the savings are only about 10,000 taels. A few innates can earn more than 200,000 taels from a trip to Wangwu Mountain. It's just that the risks are much greater. No wonder everyone is flocking to the Misty Mountains. Let me take another look. Zhang Feng didn't pay too much attention. This bone is of use to the family, not to the individual. Without a storage ring, it would be difficult to move such a large body. This world is very much like a world where martial arts and immortals blend together. According to the realm of cultivation, it is more like the world of martial arts. Methods for refining artifacts, strange beasts, and even legendary storage rings exist in this world. It's not much different from the Shengxia world. Storage ring, made of space stone. Zhang Feng's father had one. There are not many space stones in existence. They are crafted by Grandmaster-level artifact refiners and are extremely precious. I'm going to get a storage ring. Zhang Feng put aside his thoughts and continued to look at the strange products on various stalls. There are beautiful and sharp swords. There is a thumb-sized ginseng elixir. There are various lustrous ores. Eye-opening. The Hangzhou black market has more treasures than the Suzhou black market. Zhang Feng discovered a lot of unusual materials on the black market in Suzhou. Continue walking along the stalls. In front of a stall, a group of people seemed to be watching the excitement. From time to time there were sounds of surprise. Zhang Feng was aroused by gossip and couldn't help but walk towards the crowd. Passing through the crowd, his eyes were caught by something on the stall. I saw a huge iron cage in the middle of the stall. In the cage, an iron chain protrudes from each of the 8 corners and is tied to a mass of air in the center. Zhang Feng took a closer look and saw that the air in the middle was a creature with horns. It is shadowy and has a human shape, about a little over 1 meter tall. The body is transparent, and you can even see through the body to the opposite side, just like a ball of air. Can't see the specific appearance. It's easy to overlook it if you don't look carefully. No wonder so many people are watching. Zhang Feng also saw this kind of creature for the first time. The creature didn't look well. His expression was sluggish, and a penetrating wound formed a hole in his lower abdomen. Transparent liquid dripped from the wound to the ground, like water drops. Zhang Feng was not the only one who was curious. Someone asked, "Stall owner, what kind of creature is this?" The stall owner looked a little frustrated and replied, "This is a shadow demon." Hiss. After hearing this, there was a gasp of air all around. There are many well-informed people, and many even have greed in their eyes. If this wasn't a black market, someone might have robbed it directly. Without him, shadow demon is too precious. Zhang Feng was also stunned. Recalling the books on strange beasts that I had read, I remembered what kind of creature the shadow demon was. Those who are born from strange beasts are called monsters. Demons possess intelligence no less than that of humans. Shadow demons are an extremely rare type of demon. Very few people have seen it. There were no pictures in the books Zhang Feng had read. There is only a brief introduction to shadow demon. Shadow demons are born killers. Because the body is transparent, it can completely blend into the air and even hide its breath. Even if you were standing next to him, a martial artist of a much higher level would be hard to spot. Shadow demons' combat effectiveness is extremely strong, and combined with innate's advantages, it is no problem to assassinate humans at a higher level. The most important thing is that the shadow demon's growth limit is very high. If you recognize it as its master, it will definitely be a very powerful helper. It can be regarded as a strategic treasure for both individuals and forces. No wonder so many people's eyes light up when they hear the word shadow demon. At this time, someone questioned, "With all due respect, I am not judging a gentleman with a villain's heart. Anyone who gets the shadow demon will probably not sell it. The world is dangerous, and there is a helper hidden in the dark. Who is willing to sell it out? Unless they exchange extremely rare skills, no one would be foolish enough to exchange money for such a precious species as the shadow demon. After all, the shadow demon is a legendary thing, and no one in the room has actually seen it. It's normal to have questions." Everyone nodded. After getting the shadow demon, it was too late to hide it, so how could it be sold? When the stall owner heard this, he looked even more frustrated. "Everyone, please take a closer look." After saying that, he pointed at the hollow in the shadow demon's abdomen. Then he said, "This is the shadow demon's beast core, which is equivalent to the human dantian. This is an underage shadow demon. When I captured it, I accidentally broke the beast core, otherwise I wouldn't have put it out for sale." The stall owner looked pained. Only then did the others see the shadow demon's abdomen. Sure enough, there was a penetrating wound. For a time, everyone was heartbroken. It's such a violent thing. Not a son of man, not a son of man. It seemed to hurt more than stabbing myself. A legendary monster was destroyed just like that. What's even more heartbreaking is that the stall owner had his huge fortune shattered by his own hands. It hurts so much. I'm not going to hide it from you. After the beast core is broken, the value of the shadow demon is greatly reduced, and the cultivation level will not be promoted for life. Although the beast core of this shadow demon has been destroyed, the power of the physical body still exists. Coupled with the characteristics of the shadow demon, it is enough to be worthy of a first-grade master. It's not of much use to me, so I'll give it away and sell it." The stall owner's own innate cultivation level and first-grade level combat power are of little use to him. Moreover, the shadow demon beast core was abolished, leaving only hatred, and it is impossible to recognize the master. In this way, everyone figured it out. Although shadow demons have been abolished, they are a rare species after all. Maybe some rich young man would be willing to collect it. Sure enough, after the stall owner finished speaking, someone asked, "How do you sell this shadow demon?" "Everyone, the shadow demon is extremely rare to see. If you are interested, you can take it away for 200,000 taels." The stall owner said loudly. The person who inquired looked unhappy. "Stall owner, you are a bit unkind. If it is a complete shadow demon, let alone 200,000 taels, 2 million taels or even higher, there will be many people who want it. But for a shadow demon whose path has been cut off, 200,000 taels is a bit high." After hearing this, someone echoed, "Yes, the intact shadow demon is of infinite value, and the broken shadow demon is not as good as an ordinary alien beast corpse." This is absolutely true. Apart from assassination, the shadow demon's skin has no magical uses. Even after the skin is pulled off, even the invisibility effect is lost. It can be said that the value of the dead shadow demon's body is indeed not comparable to that of ordinary alien beasts. The stall owner also knows the characteristics of the shadow demon, but because things are rare and expensive, he is unwilling to lower the price. Said, perhaps someone is lucky enough to find a heavenly material and earthly treasure that can repair Dantian. As soon as these words came out, everyone burst into laughter. The treasure that repairs the Dantian is so precious. Even if you get it, there are a few people who are willing to let others use it instead of keeping it for themselves as insurance. Exactly, I'm afraid even the great Grand Master can't come up with the treasure to repair Dantian. Everyone disagreed with the stall owner's words. Dantian is the place where all living things, spirits and energy gather. The Dantian is broken, which is equivalent to the energy and spirit of the living being scattered. It is more than 100 times more difficult to repair the Dantian than to regenerate a broken limb. It is said that the legendary celestial human realm can transform a person into a deity and regenerate a severed limb, but I have not heard that celestial human realm can repair the Dantian. The treasure that repairs the Dantian is probably rarer than the shadow demon. The value is even better. Everyone was talking a lot. I really need 200,000 taels to buy a useless shadow demon, but no one will buy it. At this time, Zhongfeng was extremely excited. He doesn't have the treasure to repair Dantian. But he has divine-level skills. Primordial origin involves every cell in the body via postnatal realm. It is far from as simple as other methods of cultivating the surface of skin, muscles, tendons and bone marrow. If the shadow demon can practice the Primordial Origin Sutra, it is completely possible to repair beast core by itself through primordial origin. As for the divine-level Kung Fu Gaiden, as long as the shadow demon recognizes its master, there is no need to worry about loyalty issues. Monster does not recognize its owner like a human being. When the master dies, the monster will die as well. But when the monster dies, the owner is not affected. Zhongfeng suppressed his excited thoughts and said calmly, I want 200,000 taels. He directly took out 200,000 taels of silver notes. The nights are long and I have many dreams, and I am too lazy to bargain. Save yourself the trouble of being noticed by others later when there are too many people. 200,000 taels is not more than the Zhang family's net profit for a month. As the perfume and soap business expands, profits can be made back in the next half month or even less. What you want is hard to come by. The stall owner was even more afraid that Zhongfeng would go back on his word, so he quickly took the banknote. After confirming that it was correct, he handed it over and said, Brother, the shadow demon is yours. The onlookers looked like they were being taken advantage of. 200,000 taels is enough to buy the lives of several powerful innate men. It would be unwise to buy a useless shadow demon. There were also some people who saw that Zhongfeng had not broken through innate, but they took out 200,000 taels without blinking an eye. He immediately focused on this fat sheep. After breaking the iron chain, Zhongfeng held the shadow demon in his arms, as light as nothing. He said softly, I will take you away. Shadow demon understood Zhongfeng's words and nodded slightly. After leaving the stall with shadow demon in his arms, Zhongfeng noticed that many vague eyes were staring at him. He didn't take it too seriously. As long as Grandmaster doesn't take action. Facing the siege of innate realm's strongmen, even if you can't defeat them, no one can stay if you want to run away. Next, Zhongfeng continued to shuttle through the stalls with shadow demon in his arms, and saw many novel things. I bought 2 innate realm exercises that I didn't have to enrich my knowledge. Grandmaster realm techniques are not common in the black market, but innate realm techniques are available from time to time. Mainly because practicing consumes too much resources. Each innate realm master doesn't have much left over. As a last resort, one can only sell the cultivation techniques in exchange for cultivation resources. Wandering all the way, I came to another stall. The stalls sell nothing but people. It is different from the common human races on the mainland. All of them have blonde hair and blue eyes, with bulging front and back. Many interested LSPs were picking and choosing at the booth. This is a foreign woman caught on an overseas island. The price is only 5,000 taels each, the quantity is small, first come, first served. The stall owner opened his mouth to sell, as if he was selling ordinary livestock. Countries in the Central Plains have mutual agreements not to traffic in the people of their respective countries. However, the public has needs in this regard. Therefore, the trafficking of foreign races is in a default state. If the people don't promote it, the officials won't investigate it. These interracial women were obviously carefully selected. The looks are all top-notch, with an exotic air. In a short time, 2 were sold. The eastern part of the Song dynasty was close to the sea, and exotic women of different races lived on some islands. Going to sea is quite risky. The profits from selling exotic slaves are extremely high. This resulted in many slave-catching teams walking on the sea. Young and middle-aged slaves were used for mining, planting, etc. Young and beautiful women can be sold at high prices and make huge profits. The Zhang family does not have a slave trading business. But Zhang Feng was not surprised by this. The slave trade cannot be changed by anyone who wants to. Put it in the so-called civilized world of the previous life. The annual global human trafficking figures are still sky high. Not to mention this society where strength is respected. Next, Zhang Feng visited the entire black market. There aren't many exciting things. Truly a rare treasure. Most people won't sell it. Instead, barter for items, or buy them with rarer items. Buying the shadow demon this time is an unexpected surprise. This trip to the black market was not in vain. Zhang Feng walked towards the entrance, and not long after, Dongfang Bubai also finished shopping. He was holding a small bag in his hand. Looks like he's in a good mood. It looks like the harvest is good. Zhang Feng asked. Well, I bought some things I need. Dongfang Bubai smiled, looked at the thing in Zhang Feng's arms, and said in surprise, Hey, is this a shadow demon? Zhang Feng nodded and said, Yes, but beast core is useless. So, let's talk about what happened when we met the shadow demon just now. Dongfang Bubai shook his head and said, It's really a pity. Suddenly, Dongfang Bubai had a strange expression on his face. You seem to be being targeted. They're just a few clowns. Why don't you leave separately? Those people think they are doing it covertly. Little did he know that it had been discovered long ago. Dongfang Bubai saw that Zhang Feng had already noticed it and smiled. You also said you were a clown, let's go. As he spoke, he did not take those people into consideration at all. Then let's go. Zhang Feng nodded. Whether it is him or Dongfang invincible. I didn't even care about those people. There is no need to deliberately separate. Walking out of the black market, Shadow Demon clutched Zhang Feng's clothes tightly. Zhang Feng deliberately slowed down and carried the Shadow Demon towards the center of the city at the speed of a normal first-grade cultivation level. Dongfang Bubai followed unhurriedly. About half a cup of tea time. 2 figures blocked the middle of the road. Dongfang Bubai joked softly, It's up to you. Boy, if you are sensible, hand over the Shadow Demon and your finances. Maybe Grandpa, I will be in a good mood and let you live. A man wearing a yaksha mask spoke. In order to conceal his identity, he obviously used Truchi to convert his voice. Surprisingly, there are 2 innate realms. Just you 2. Zhang Feng was speechless. Who gave you the courage? 2 innate realms dared to block the road and rob you. Before the man could reply, another whistling sound came from behind. 2 figures chased from behind again and blocked the way back. Is 4 innate enough to deal with you 2? Seeing that everything was under control, the yaksha man was still in a playful mood. Dongfang Bubai, on the other hand, was too lazy to talk to the other side and turned to look at Zhang Feng. I'll deal with the first 2, and you deal with the last 2. Let's see who finishes first. Zhang Feng smiled and said, That's fine. Several people saw Dongfang Bubai chatting and laughing with Zhang Feng, and it was not like he was just pretending. My heart suddenly rose, and I even had the intention of turning around and running away. Traveling around the world for so many years. They know deeply. Nothing is more important than surviving. This kind of thing has not happened before. As long as you encounter someone you are not sure about, you will definitely run away thousands of miles away as soon as possible. As soon as Zhang Feng finished speaking, Dongfang Bubai's red figure rushed forward like a train. The 2 men who besieged Zhang Feng were the first to unsheath their swords, emitting a dazzling cold light. One on the left and one on the right, stabbing Zhang Feng's vitals. Zhang Feng tightened the shadow demon in his hand, and the long sword at his waist made a short whistling sound. The sword came out like a dragon's roar, shocking people's hearts. In an instant, the three swords intersected dozens of times. At first, the two of them kept a trace of concealment and did not use common moves to avoid accidents and reveal their identities. Zhang Feng's strength exceeded both of their expectations. They cannot imagine that a person who has not entered innate can be so powerful and unreasonable. So, no longer hold back. The aura on his body suddenly rose, and he was at the peak of innate realm. The two people who fought against Dongfang Bubai didn't get any favors either. Yaksha Man said urgently, "The ideas are so annoying, don't hold back anymore." Dongfang Bubai held a thin silk thread with his thumb and middle finger respectively. The end of the silk thread is connected to a long silver needle. The hands are like dancing. The two people fighting were surrounded by two silver needles. The people who besieged Zhangfeng were obviously not cooperating for the first time, and their cooperation was perfect. You advance and I retreat, you attack and I defend. No weaknesses, only a strong attack can break this trend and break the situation between the two of them. Clank, water dividing sword. Zhangfeng figured out the strength of the two men, and the swords were as bright as autumn water. The two of them were the first to bear the brunt, and faced this seemingly ordinary sword, they felt unable to resist it. There are sword lights in all directions, densely packed. Even a drop of water cannot escape the sword net formed by the sword light. This is where the name Fenshui sword technique comes from. Dongfang Bubai, who was fighting on the side, had a look of shock on his face. She knew that Zhangfeng was very strong and even posed a slight threat to her. But it was still underestimated. More than just strong. It completely exceeds the combat power that postnatal realm should have. An extremely strong foundation combined with amazing swordsmanship. There are definitely not many innate masters who can take this sword completely. She has traveled around the world and met many heroes whose reputations are not inferior to hers. I have seen Examen Kuishui with a sword flying across the snow. I have seen Yi Gucheng, a flying fairy from the sky. I met Xie Zhaofeng, the invincible sword god of the younger generation. I have seen the 13 deadly swords Yan Shisen. She once thought that among the younger generation, these people should be respected for their swordsmanship. Until I saw Zhang Feng's sword. This sword looks like an ordinary sword net. But there is a feeling of being blocked in all directions. No matter how you avoid it, you can break it with force. In the end, they will all be stabbed by other swords. Dongfang Invincible feels quite tricky. Even if she faced this sword, she had no confidence that she would be able to take it without any damage. The two people who were enveloped by the sword light felt a sense of despair in their hearts. Facing this sword, the fear in my heart was simply indescribable. It seemed like a long time passed. In fact, it is only for a moment. The sword light drowned the two of them. The two of them were allowed to struggle before death, and countless sword rays hit them one after another. Puff puff. The sound of flesh and blood being pierced continued to sound. The two peak innate masters, under Zhang Feng's sword, were no different from the innate masters who were killed before. Almost an instant kill. Boom. The two corpses fell to the ground, with a look of unwillingness on their faces. Choke. The long sword is sheathed. The two people who besieged Dongfang Bubai saw that the opportunity was not good, and they already wanted to retreat. While his companion was resisting Dongfang Bubai's attack, Yaksha Man quickly retreated, turned around and fled. Snort. Dongfang Bubai lost the match with Zhang Feng. If you let people escape again, wouldn't it look very incompetent? This was intolerable to her. Suddenly, the 10 fingers seemed to dance. At some point, a silk thread was tied to each of the 10 fingers. 10 silver needles attacked the two people at the same time at very fast speeds. Because the speed was too fast, a continuous rain of needles formed. The sky is filled with the shadow of embroidery needles. Yaksha Man had no choice but to stop and block the attack from behind. Ding 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 ding. The two of them clenched their teeth, and the water they wielded with their long swords couldn't splash in. Dongfang Bubai is in no hurry. Suddenly, there was a sound of metal tearing. The long sword was under the concentrated attack of the silver needle. Break from it. The silver needle passed through the sword curtain without any hindrance. The expressions of the two people changed, and the sword broke too suddenly. The silver needle was moving too fast and there was no time to stop it. It passed through the throats of the two people with lightning speed. Before the two of them could struggle, the silver needle fixed their figures through the silk thread. The two men were like puppets held back by silver needles. Other silver needles were passed through the side temples. The pupils of the two men dilated, and the aura on their bodies instantly dropped. Hiss. Good anomaly work. Zhang Feng was stunned. The silver needle in Dongfang Bubai's hands was a mess. Reminds him of shadow puppetry. The two of them were like puppets controlled by Dongfang Bubai. Swish, swish, swish. A few rays of cold light flashed. Dongfang Bubai took back the silver needle. Looking at her hand, she didn't know where the silver needle was hidden. The Oriental girl's skills are really hard to guard against. Zhang Feng sighed from the bottom of his heart. Ordinary people face this kind of attack and will lose if they defend for a long time. The best way is to attack from close range. But Dongfang Invincible's speed is ghostly. Melee attack or long-range attack is in her hands. If you want to defeat Dongfang Bubai, you must surpass her in speed and you must be extremely strong in close combat. Otherwise, even if her physical strength is stronger than hers, she can also fly a kite from a distance and give you a run for her money. Absolutely difficult. Dongfang Bubai shook his head and said, I still lost to you. My methods are okay against ordinary people, but in a fight with a genius-like young master, I can't be defeated at most. Zhang Feng was stunned. Isn't that how the name Dongfang Invincible came from? Dongfang Bubai chuckled and said, my name was Dongfang Bai when I was a child. Later, my master taught me martial arts. Master said that as long as you learn his skills, you won't dare to win, but you will be undefeated. From now on, I will change my name to Dongfang Bubai. I see. Zhang Feng agreed with his face. With your methods and speed, you are indeed invincible. I don't know who the master of Dongfang Invincible is. Could it be the legendary sunflower ancestor? Dongfang Bubai didn't tell me, but Zhang Feng didn't have the nerve to ask. Look for any treasures on you. Zhang Feng's eyes shone and he rubbed his hands. After killing an enemy, touching the corpse is always the most anticipated part. Dongfang Bubai chuckled. The impression Zhang Feng gave her was too mysterious. Only then did I realize that I was not much different from normal people. Soon, Zhang Feng found 150,000 taels of silver notes from the two people he killed. In the package on the back of one of them, there were 5 spirit medicine plants that were more than 100 years old. It was obviously just bought from the black market. He took off their masks smoothly. He had been traveling around the world for a while and didn't know these two people, so he asked, does the Oriental girl know who they are? Dongfang Bubai looked at it carefully and said, if I'm not mistaken, they should be the 4 heroes of Taihu Lake. It's them. Zhang Feng suddenly realized. Taihu Lake is located in Suzhou, and he has heard the names of the 4 heroes of Taihu Lake. He is the leader of a water bandit force entrenched in Tai Lake. Now the 4 heroes have become dead bears. Without the masters to control the formation, this water bandit force will be wiped out and replaced sooner or later. Dongfang Bubai didn't have the nerve to touch the corpse. Zhang Feng smiled and said, I'll help Dongfang girl see the harvest. Dongfang Bubai's face turned red. I don't want it anymore. Mr. Zhang can do whatever he wants. Zhang Feng groped for a while and found tens of thousands of taels of silver notes and several medicinal plants from the other 2 people. In addition, Yaksha Man actually has an innate kung fu called Fire Flame Kung Fu. Zhang Feng flipped through it, incorporated the skills into the system, then handed the package to Dongfang Bubai and said, this is your trophy, I won't take away anyone's love. Dongfang Bubai did not refuse again. To both of them, this was nothing. The banknote in hand plus medicinal materials, and an innate technique. It is equivalent to earning back all the consumption on the black market this time. No wonder no matter what time, no matter what level of cultivation you reach, rogue cultivator will never go away. The profit from robbery is higher than that of Zhang Family Trading Company. Unfortunately, if you walk too much at night, you will always encounter ghosts. The 4 heroes of Taihu Lake didn't even think about it until they were about to die. He fell to a martial artist who had not even broken through the innate realm. It can't help but make people sigh. The 2 returned to Hangzhou City. Dongfang Bubai said quietly, I will go back to Haimu Cliff tomorrow. I have to say goodbye this time. I don't know when we can see each other again. Through these 2 contacts, Dongfang Bubai became curious about Zhongfeng and unconsciously had a shadow in his heart. It just so happens that I am going back to Suzhou tomorrow. If the Oriental girl is free, you can come to Yang's house to see me at any time. I will sweep the couch to welcome you. Zhongfeng cupped his hands and said. He has a good impression of Dongfeng invincible. Or it's the mutual sympathy between geniuses, or it's the love of beauty that everyone has. In short, there is a long way to go. See you later. See you later. The two of them said goodbye reluctantly. Return to Hangzhou Villa. Zhongfeng returned to the room immediately and closed the door. Shadow Demon's body is still a little sluggish. After buying the Shadow Demon, I gave it a healing elixir. The elixir made its condition slightly better, but had no effect on the injuries at Beast Core. Can you understand what I'm saying? Zhongfeng carefully placed the Shadow Demon on the chair and asked. Shadow Demon nodded slightly. Are you willing to sign a master-servant agreement with me? Zhongfeng asked again. It is said that in ancient times, the human race had a way to force the signing of agreements. As time goes by, this method has been lost for unknown reasons. Now when signing an agreement with Monster Race, you must be willing to do so. But the agreement doesn't do Monster Race any good. Unless you were raised on Monster Race. Otherwise, who would be willing to place their lives in the hands of others? As a result, not many people actually signed a master-servant agreement with Monster Race. As expected, the Shadow Demon remained silent and did not agree. The reaction of the Shadow Demon was as expected by Zhongfeng. It was just the first time the two met, and there was no basis for any relationship. Even if the Beast Core is destroyed, Shadow Demon is not willing to put his life and death in the hands of others. I have a technique that can repair your Beast Core. Zhongfeng slowly said, but you also know that such a skill is rare. If you hadn't signed an agreement with me, I couldn't guarantee that the skills would not be spread to others. After Zhongfeng said these words, he clearly felt that the Shadow Demon's expression was shaken. However, due to the authenticity of Zhongfeng's words, he did not agree immediately. Zhongfeng continued, there is absolutely no need for me to lie to you about this matter. Even if you sign a master-servant agreement, your thoughts are not controlled by me. It won't do me any good to lie to you. Think it over carefully. Zhongfeng just finished speaking. Shadow Demon patted himself. It was obvious that the Shadow Demon's momentum had dropped again, and his expression became even more depressed. A drop of crystal-clear blood was suspended in front of Zhongfeng. Zhongfeng was very excited. He stretched out his hand to take the drop of soul blood and put it between his eyebrows. After the blood touches the eyebrows, it blends with Zhongfeng. Zhongfeng has a strange connection with the Shadow Demon in his heart. The contract is successful. A Lolita sound appeared in the depths of Zhongfeng's mind. Master. Zhongfeng's mind moved. He was a little Lolita and asked, what's your name? Master, my name is Aluo. After a nice chat with Aluo. Only then did Zhongfeng understand the origin of Aluo. Aluo has appeared in the Misty Mountains since she became sensible. I don't know who my parents are. Because of Shadow Demon's innate talent for invisibility, her survival in the desolate Mist Mountains did not pose any major problems. Suddenly one day Tan Wan showed up and was accidentally discovered by the human race. Because he is too young and ignorant, he does not understand the sinister nature of people's hearts. So he was tricked and caught in the middle of a fight. Then it was sold on the black market. Zhongfeng couldn't help but sigh. If Aluo had more social experience, understand the evil nature of the human heart. With her talent, as long as she doesn't take the initiative to provoke others, almost no one can catch her. After contracting Aluo, Zhongfeng could clearly see Aluo's appearance. He is estimated to be about 10 years old and just over 1.2 meters tall. There are sharp horns on both sides of the head. The long aqua hair is spread on the shoulders like a waterfall. The face is basically similar to that of the human race, with sharp edges and corners. A pair of big eyes looks a little ignorant and innocent. His body was like water, looking at Zhongfeng timidly. She was afraid that Zhongfeng's promise to her just now was just a lie. Zhongfeng smiled and touched Aluo's head and said, I will pass the technique on to you now. You can see if you can practice it. He put his finger on Aluo's forehead and whispered silently, System, pass the primordial origin via postnatal realm technique to Aluo. A message was transmitted into Aluo's mind through Zhang Feng's fingers. Aluo closed her eyes gently. After a moment, he opened his eyes. Aluo, try to see if you can practice. Zhang Feng felt a little nervous. Aluo's body looks similar to that of a human being, so she should be able to practice. All the techniques transmitted by the system can be understood instantly. So don't worry about Aluo's comprehension. The Primordial Origin Sutra is based on the fusion of different exercises and Zhang Feng's physical characteristics. I am afraid that after Aluo practices the Primordial Origin Sutra, she will not be able to fully exert the power of the Primordial Origin Sutra. This is related to the fit of the exercises. For example, 18 dragons subduing palms is like a miracle in Xiao Feng's hands. In the hands of others, it would just be a slightly more powerful palm technique. Similarly, the system-optimized martial arts skills are based on his body as a template. Anyone who practices the techniques he teaches can at most come infinitely close and cannot surpass him. Unless we innovate on the basis of the exercises. It can be used to innovate on the basis of the divine level skills, and the difficulty is so high that it makes people despair. Aluo runs the Primordial Origin Meridian line. Zhang Feng noticed that traces of spiritual energy in the air slowly entered Aluo's body, and the absorption speed was slower than when he was practicing. After a moment, Aluo opened her eyes. There was excitement on his face. Master, Primordial Origin can repair my injuries. Thank you, Master. Aluo hugged Zhang Feng's neck and kissed her face. You girl. This is the first time Aluo has shown intimacy to Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng rubbed Aluo's head and felt relieved in his heart. Just be useful. Then you practice first and try to repair the beast core as soon as possible. Zhang Feng warned. Yeah, Master, I can blend into your shadow and protect you. Aluo said seriously. Oh, Zhang Feng is full of curiosity. He only knows a little bit about the shadow demon. Zhang Feng found out after Aluo's narration. The shadow demon can blend into the shadow of the contracted person and protect him personally. Moreover, when blending into the shadow, it will not delay the practice of the shadow demon, but will be beneficial to the practice. Zhang Feng clicked his tongue in surprise. It's so magical. It is completely beyond the scope of martial arts. Aluo, come on, give it a try. Zhang Feng couldn't wait to verify it. Yes, Master. Suddenly, Aluo's figure changed and disappeared from Zhang Feng's eyes. Zhang Feng closed the master-servant connection with Aluo and tried to find her. He stared at the shadow for a long time. After careful inspection, Aluo was not found at all. It wasn't until he discovered through the induction between master and servant that Aluo was indeed where his shadow was. Zhang Feng performed Qigong all the way. The shadow moves with Zhang Feng's figure. Aluo is always somewhere on the shadow. No matter how fast he goes, Aluo is always there. Finally, Zhang Feng completed the verification. With a look of amazement on his face, he said, Aluo, how did you do this? Aluo appeared and said, Master, this is a racial talent, you are born with it. Zhang Feng was speechless. This racial talent is really incredible. You are hiding in my shadow, how can you hide someone who is several levels above you? Zhang Feng asked again. Arrow can hide from him, if she can hide from the Grand Master. Even above Grand Master. Aluo tilted her head and said, Master, after I merged into your shadow, I and the shadow are one, indistinguishable from each other. I can't find it even above the Grand Master. Zhang Feng was overjoyed when he heard this. Can others hurt you by attacking my shadow? Aluo said confidently. Unless someone can hurt the master by attacking the shadow. Attack the shadow and hurt the body. Zhang Feng was thoughtful. At least I haven't heard of any level of martial artist having this ability. I'm afraid only the legendary immortals can do it. For example, through the law of cause and effect, the shadow is used to attack the main body. Such a realm is far away from him. Wait until he reaches that state. I don't know how much the whole cards have increased. Master, if I practice in the shadow, I can speed up Master's practice. Master can also speed up my practice when I practice. It's best to use the same technique. At this time, Aluo said something that shocked Zhang Feng. Seriously, Zhang Feng said with golden eyes. Of course, Master, I practice, you can feel it for yourself. Aluo said proudly. After saying that, he escaped into the shadow again. Zhang Feng calmed down and felt it. Sure enough, I found a stream of spiritual energy coming from the shadow, and then directly entering the body. Reiki has no imprint. It comes from heaven and earth. It is not the spiritual energy cultivated by Luo herself. Zhang Feng circulates the skills. It was discovered that the speed of spiritual energy absorbed from heaven and earth was doubled compared to before. The extra part sank directly into the shadow and disappeared without a trace. Through the induction with a Luo, it was obvious that spiritual energy entered a Luo's body. Hiss. Zhang Feng was shocked. This, a Luo's practice is equivalent to him practicing. When he was practicing, he was also helping a Luo practice. The cultivation speed is almost twice as fast as usual. Zhang Feng felt extremely shocked. A Luo is a huge trump card. When you encounter danger, you can be surprised. Who would have thought that while fighting, a sword suddenly appeared in the shadow? Moreover, a Luo practices in the shadows. It's like a 24-hour personal bodyguard. In addition, it is equivalent to a practice accelerator. Hiss. Zhang Feng took a breath of cold air. The evaluation of Shadow Demon in books is still too low. Wrong. Zhang Feng suddenly thought. I'm afraid it's not that the evaluation of Shadow Demon in the book is too low. But someone deliberately concealed it. If Shadow Demon is just a top killer who can become invisible, then, it can also be measured by value. Some people get after using top techniques, even genius treasures can be traded. And a bodyguard who can hide in his own shadow and provide 24-hour personal protection. It can also help the master speed up his cultivation. Simply priceless. Zhang Feng asked himself if someone would trade with him. No matter what conditions are offered, he will never agree. Without him, he couldn't think of anything more precious than the Shadow Demon. After a Luo was born, she never met her parents. Does such a terrifying race really exist in heaven and earth? Zhang Feng was a little confused for a moment. Even the legendary dragon and phoenix. Maybe he has noble blood and strong strength. Zhang Feng asked himself, even if he exchanged a dragon for a Luo, he would not trade it. He realized the seriousness of the problem. Previously, a Luo was used for trading. It's because the stall owner completely underestimated the value of the Shadow Demon. The information he knew about the Shadow Demon was similar to what Zhang Feng knew at the time. Only as much as others let them know. And this time in the black market, the information about the Shadow Demon's appearance will definitely be spread. When the time comes, it will definitely cause trouble. Because the value of a real Shadow Demon is definitely not comparable to that of a heavenly material and earthly treasure that can repair the Dantian. Those peerless masters who truly know the value of Shadow Demons never miss this opportunity. Maybe someone will come to Hangzhou at this time. Zhang Feng looked solemn, carefully recalled every detail of the black market business. He really knows that he has a Shadow Demon. There is only one person who is invincible in the East. Others do not know his identity. Based on his understanding of Dongfang Bubai, he should not leak his information. Zhang Feng said softly to Alo, "Alo, just hide in my shadow. Don't come out without my instructions." "Okay, master, I will practice in the shadows and won't come out." A Luo replied abruptly. At this time, what a Luo wants to do most is to repair beast core. Zhang Feng did not dare to be careless. If someone knew that the Shadow Demon was on him, with his current strength, even with the influence of the Zhang family, it's absolutely impossible to hold on. When the benefits reach a certain level, the Zhang family's face is not so useful. Chapter 21. Zhang Feng took off his clothes and burned them all with fire. I still feel that it is not safe and I must talk to Dongfang Bubai about this matter. If Dongfang Bubai fails to realize the importance of the Shadow Demon and tells others, it will cause unpredictable consequences. It's not like Zhang Feng never thought of silencing him. He gave up the idea in an instant. Although I have never played against Dongfang Bubai. But he had a vague hunch. Even if he could win the battle, it would be difficult to keep her. Once this is done, there is no way out. Moreover, he also refused to do so in his heart. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng went directly to 100 Flowers Tower. The two had just separated. Dongfang Bubai was curious about Zhang Feng's arrival and asked, "What's wrong with Mr. Zhang?" Dongfang Bubai had just finished bathing. He was dressed in gauze and his face was flushed. Zhang Feng was not in the mood to appreciate the bathing beauty at this time, and said with a serious face, I really have something important to entrust to Miss Dongfang at this time. Dongfang Bubai saw Zhang Feng with a serious face. Without asking anything, he frowned and replied directly, Master Zhang, please tell me, as long as I can do it, I will live up to your trust. Zhang Feng nodded and said, Miss Dongfang, please don't reveal my purchase of the shadow demon to anyone. Anyone, Zhang Feng emphasized. Dongfang Bubai looked surprised and said, that's it. Zhang Feng nodded. That's it. Dongfang Bubai didn't ask the reason and said seriously, please rest assured, Mr. Zhang, I promise that I will never tell anyone about this matter. Zhang Feng breathed a sigh of relief and said, thank you so much, Miss Dongfang. In the future, Miss Dongfang will have some trust. As long as Zhang can do it, she will live up to her trust. Zhang Feng breathed a sigh of relief after finishing Dongfang Bubai. Dongfang Bubai smiled slightly and said, it seems that I took advantage of young Master Zhang this time. Pingbai has more personal feelings. A genius like Zhang Feng must be arrogant and will never be perfunctory about what he promises. Just like she promised Zhang Feng, she would definitely do it. At this moment, a huge rumbling sound came from the distance. The two quickly stood up and looked at the place where the sound came from. Is this a black market? Dongfang Bubai exclaimed. Zhang Feng looked serious. Judging from the movement, it was definitely an expert beyond imagination who took action. Dongfang Bubai looked at Zhang Feng thoughtfully, and Zhang Feng nodded. Dongfang Bubai was shocked. Could it be that he came for the shadow demon? Does the shadow demon have a secret that she doesn't know about? Even though she was a little curious, she didn't ask. Zhang Feng pondered. I know Dongfang girl, are there many people going to the black market tonight? Dongfang Bubai shook his head. Only you. Zhang Feng breathed a sigh of relief and said, that's good. Remember, it's best not to tell others about going to the black market tonight. Also, don't take out the things you bought from the black market and digest them before leaving Hangzhou. Is it that serious? Dongfang Bubai asked. It's so serious. Zhang Feng nodded. Seeing Zhang Feng being so cautious, Dongfang Bubai nodded and said, okay, I'll listen to you. Zhang Feng couldn't afford the gamble. Just relying on the power of the person who just took action was like a natural disaster. It's far beyond what he can handle now. Black market. A man wearing a black robe and a mask whose face could not be seen clearly had his hands behind his back. In front of him, people were kneeling on the ground. Countless bodies lay on the ground. Sir, the shadow demon is really not in our hands. An old man with white hair and beard who had just arrived had a bitter look on his face. Judging from his aura, he was clearly a grandmaster above the innate realm. However, he was kneeling on the ground like a slave, looking embarrassed. At this time, several figures came from a distance in the air. Once you reach the grandmaster realm, you can fly in the air. From this point of view, it is clear that these people are all grandmaster realm, and they are the background of the forces behind the black market. The leader raised his hands and said respectfully, I wonder what the black market could do to offend the seniors. HMPH. The masked man snorted. The leader spit out a mouthful of blood as if he had been hit hard, with a look of horror on his face. Seeing this, the other grandmasters lowered their heads, not daring to look directly at the masked man who came from nowhere. Is there any record of the people who entered the black market tonight? The masked man asked in a deep voice. There was a heavy pressure in the voice that made people worship him. Sir, most of the people who come here are wearing masks or have their true faces hidden, so there's no way to find out. The white-haired old man looked bitter. For fear that the masked man would be dissatisfied, he continued, perhaps we can find the person who sells the shadow demon through the people who recently went to the desolate mist mountains. I'll give you half an hour. The masked man said coldly. Yes, the white-haired old man replied. Several grandmasters personally arranged their respective forces and mobilized all channels to find the identity of the man who sold the shadow demon. There are always clues about some things, as long as they are not deliberately concealed. What's more, the stall owner selling the shadow demon at that time only slightly changed his face. In less than half an hour, an embarrassed figure with blood on his face was brought to the masked man by a grandmaster himself. It was the stall owner who sold it to Zhang Feng shadow demon. The stall owner had a panic look on his face, and he didn't even understand why he was arrested. Did you sell the shadow demon? The masked man asked. The stall owner felt the pressure from the masked man and did not dare to raise his head and look directly at him. He trembled and said, "Sir, the shadow demon was indeed sold from me. The shadow demon beast core was damaged and sold for a total of 200,000 taels. If you like it, sir, I'm willing to give you 200,000 taels of silver." The stall owner looked flattering. 200,000 taels can be used to establish a favor with an unknown master. Maybe it's a blessing or not a curse. Then he told all the details of the transaction. It's a pity that Zhongfeng was wearing a mask and a black robe, and even his voice changed. 9 out of 10 people entering the black market wear black robes. Almost no features remain. By the way, based on my senses, that person probably didn't break through the innate realm. The stall owner made a surprising statement and finally revealed an important message. If it's innate realm, it's not uncommon to take out 200,000 taels of silver. With so many banknotes taken out at once under innate, the scope of the investigation is much smaller. Is there anything else? The masked man said coldly. Sir, I've said everything I know. The stall owner said respectfully. HMPH, trash, if you weren't blind, how could you have let the shadow demon miss me? As soon as the masked man finished speaking, a strong wind hit the stall owner. Before the stall owner could react, he was instantly stirred into a mass of blood mist by the strong wind. The people on the sidelines were so frightened that they did not dare to breathe. The masked man continued. Don't say that I won't give you a few powerful forces a chance. Immediately seal the city gate and investigate all acquired martial artists who can produce more than 200,000 taels of silver notes. No, investigate with innate. There are many secret ways to conceal your cultivation in the world. It is inevitable that there will be innate martial artists pretending to be acquired martial artists pretending to be pigs and eating tigers. The masked man said extremely cautiously. The shadow demon was severely injured and is extremely hostile to humans. It is impossible to sign a contract with humans in a short period of time. There must be an innate master stationed at each city gate to prevent that person from sneaking the shadow demon out. Others will investigate secretly. If they don't find it, The masked man waved his hand. The white-haired old man said tremblingly, Yes, we will do our best to find this person. I feel bitter inside. Hangzhou City, with millions of people, was one of the top cities in the Song dynasty. I don't know how many forces are secretly extending their tentacles here. There are hundreds of people who can spare 200,000 taels. The key is, after this incident, all other forces were offended. The masked man can pat his butt and walk away, and no one will dare to cause trouble for him. But life will be difficult for them in the future. However, the situation is stronger than the people. Major families in Hangzhou face masked men. Even if they join forces, there will only be a few more corpses. Let's get over this hurdle first before talking about it. Several grandmasters attach great importance to it. The masked man's behavior is definitely not that of a kind person. Killing people at every turn. If we fail to pass this level, I am afraid that several big families in Hangzhou will become history. Following the arrangements of several grandmasters, the city of Hangzhou was in a state of turmoil. Return to the other courtyard. Zhang Feng once again recalled the possible loopholes left in the black market. After learning about a Luo's miraculous powers, he was sure. That unknown master must be here for a Luo. If it is not handled well. At worst, losing a Luo. More likely to lose your life. The world is cruel, and no one will show mercy after robbing others of their great opportunities. Therefore, Zhang Feng had no choice. We can only hide a Luo and pass this difficulty. Zhang Feng made a careful deduction. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. There are two flaws. One is that the number of people who can take out 200,000 taels of silver is limited. This can reduce the scope of investigation. The second is that his cultivation level has not broken through innate. The scope can be reduced again. If he were that strong man, he would definitely search within the scope of the first flaw and not miss any possibility. The second one serves as a reference. Zhang Feng thought for a while, it was best to break through innate now. The only person who knows him in the postnatal realm world is Dongfang Bubai. The other innate masters who met him all died at his hands. It is difficult for people in the postnatal realm to see his cultivation level. Just break through the innate, this way. He can lead his suspicion to the first flaw. At least the base has become larger and less conspicuous. It just so happened that his cultivation had reached the peak of first grade and he could break through at any time. I originally planned to make a breakthrough after returning to Suzhou, but at this time, it was too late. Then make a breakthrough tonight. Zhang Feng made up his mind, crossed his legs and asked, Aluo, I may make some noise when I break through. Do you have any way to control it? Aluo immediately replied, Master, I can pull all the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into the shadow. As long as you are not standing right in front of you, you won't be able to detect it. Zhang Feng was overjoyed. Well, when I break through later, you will pull the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into the shadow. Don't worry, Master, leave it to Aluo. Aluo nodded in agreement. Zhang Feng circulates the Primordial Origin Sutra, and a trace of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth merges into the body from the void, turning into a movement around the sky. A barrier visible to the naked eye lay in front of him. Zhang Feng has not yet officially passed the test. The surging spiritual energy has already caused the barrier to become unstable. His foundation is too strong. If I hadn't been deliberately suppressing it in order to build the strongest foundation, I would have broken through 2 months ago. The spiritual energy turns into internal energy and circulates in the body until it can no longer grow. With a soft, pop, sound, the barrier that blocked countless people fell apart. Easily broken. At this time, Zhang Feng's body was like a funnel and a sponge that had dried up for a long time. The body is desperate for spiritual energy. Wow! The spiritual energy in the void poured into Zhang Feng's body like water flowing from a gate. Before making any noise, Aluo moved. Zhang Feng's shadow suddenly grew larger, covering the entire bedroom. In the dark, inconspicuous, Zhang Feng's body is like a gate. Now, the floodgates suddenly grew countless times larger. The water flow became gentle, and all the surrounding spiritual energy merged into the shadow quietly without causing any changes. Zhang Feng felt the surrounding situation while breaking through. I breathed a sigh of relief. After the shadow integrated the surrounding aura, it returned to its normal appearance. It is supported by a large amount of spiritual energy in the shadow. Zhang Feng absorbed the spiritual energy in the void again, just like practicing normally, without any difference. After breaking through innate, one has the ability to see within. Zhang Feng's dantian is like a wide lake. With the breakthrough innate, internal force is converted to true qi, becoming thicker and sharper. If wood is compared to internal force, true qi is a steel wire. The power is several times more powerful. Every 10 strands of internal energy can be converted into 1 strand of true qi. Zhang Feng's internal energy is extremely pure. The quality is not inferior to true qi from ordinary innate experts. Now it has become the queen of true qi. He had a premonition that he would encounter those masked men tonight again. The most common tricks can easily kill them instantly. He has never competed with Grandmaster and does not know how strong Grandmaster is, but he is confident that he can face any innate master. Innate realm is the cultivation process of condensing the 3 flowers of essence, energy and spirit. The 3 flowers of essence, energy and spirit are in no particular order. After condensing 1 flower, you can enter the middle stage. After condensing 2 flowers, you can enter the late stage. When all 3 flowers are condensed, the innate is complete. The difference between innate realm and postnatal realm is that postnatal realm must be practiced step by step, and only after cultivating to the first grade level can you break through innate. In the innate realm, as long as the 3 flowers condense into 1, you can try to break through the Grandmaster realm. Grandmaster is divided into 1-flowered Grandmaster, 2-flowered Grandmaster, and 3-flowered Grandmaster. The 3-flowered Grandmaster is also called the Supreme Grandmaster. There is a huge gap in combat power between Grandmasters. The 2-flowered Grandmaster can even fight across levels easily. More than 90% of the Grandmasters in the world are Grandmasters who condense 1 flower into 1. Even among the geniuses on the previous Hidden Dragon rankings, less than 1/10 can produce 2 flowers. A person who has completely condensed the 3 flowers to break through to Grandmaster is extremely rare in the world. It is difficult for one to appear in an era. Among the 3 flowers, relatively speaking, the flower of qi is the easiest to condense. Next is the flower of essence. If you also practice the body refining method, it will have a certain effect on the flower of condensed essence. The flower of God has stumped countless people. For one thing, the divine soul technique is extremely rare. Secondly, practicing the divine soul technique may not necessarily allow you to condense the divine flower. The flower of God represents not only the spirit, but also the will and even the need to understand the path to take. As far as Zhang Feng knows, there are many top masters of the younger generation in the arena. They are all the existence that condenses the two flowers. However, the third flower that was out of reach could not even be touched. The sky was dim and bright, and all the internal energy in the Dantian turned into true qi. After the internal force occupying Dantian turned into true qi, it only occupied a small corner. When true qi fills up the Dantian again, it reaches the early peak of innate. It is destined to be a waste of time. Zhang Feng carefully felt the changes in his body and opened the panel. Host: Zhang Feng. Cultivation: First grade. Lifespan: 240 years. Kung Fu: Primordial Origin Sutra. Haotian God, Innate Heaven, Grandmaster Earth. Martial Arts: Piao Miao Step, Heaven, Broken Gold Palm, Earth, Thunder Fist, Earth, Six Yang Finger, Earth, Water Dividing Sword Technique, Earth, Splitting Mountain Sword Technique, Zan. There is one more life data on the panel. Innate Realm's life level has changed, and it can live for 4 decades. For most people, 4 decades is the theoretical limit of lifespan. Innate martial artists suffered hidden injuries due to a fight with others, and it is considered a long life to live for 200 years. Zhang Feng has a strong foundation and a consistent primordial origin, and can live to the theoretical limit of his lifespan. He now has just over 220 years left to live. After breaking through the Grandmaster realm, the lifespan will double again to 500 years. Enough to protect a family for hundreds of years. Although Zhang Feng had just broken through, there was no sign that he had just broken through. His aura was already stable. He was still in high spirits despite not sleeping all night. In the innate realm, it's normal to go without sleep for 10.5 days. The sky is slightly bright. Cho'er quietly walked into the room. Master, the water for washing is ready. Cho'er looked at Zhang Feng suspiciously, always feeling that there were some inexplicable changes compared to before. The young master seems to be more handsome. Good. Zhang Feng finished taking a bath. Cho'er helped wipe away the water stains and asked, Master, when will we leave back to Suzhou? Zhang Feng replied, if you have something to do, please stay for a few more days. Also, don't mention the young master's trip to the black market last night again. He didn't tell Cho'er the reason. The more people knew, the greater the risk. Okay, Master. Cho'er never asked much about Zhang Feng's decision. The young master knew what he wanted her to know and didn't ask any questions about what he didn't want her to know. Don't say anything that she's not allowed to say. Zhang Feng especially likes this about Cho'er. Know how to advance and retreat, and be strict with your mouth. Let's go and take a nice walk around Hangzhou today. The current situation in Hangzhou City cannot be reassured until you see it with your own eyes. Walking outside will distract some people. According to normal logic, the person who buys the shadow demon should take the opportunity to develop a relationship with the shadow demon in order to sign a contract. Who would have thought that the shadow demon would be contracted that night? Zhang Feng took Cho'er walking on the crowded streets. Just the spot for breakfast. On the street, except for one store after another. Many small vendors set up breakfast stalls, and bursts of aroma wafted from the stalls. Zhang Feng looked around casually. Some temporary vendors didn't seem to take their business to heart. They glanced around and stared at the people coming and going. A few glances passed over Zhang Feng. The local forces in Hangzhou City have launched their attack. Zhang Feng's heart froze, and there was no strange color on his face. Only forces that live locally will spread their tentacles to the corners of the city. The Zhang family is like this, and the forces in other regions are similar. The two of them came to a well-decorated breakfast shop. The most well-informed places are black markets, brothels, and tea houses. These places are a mixed bag of good and bad, with all kinds of people doing different things. Definitely the best place to get some news. Zhang Feng did not use the secret guards for the time being. First, it is easy to attract attention. Secondly, When other forces are inquiring about information, it is natural for the secret guards to collect information on their own initiative. You two gentlemen, do you want a box or a private seat? As soon as I entered the door, the waiter bowed and greeted me. Get a seat by the window. Okay, master, please come with me. One of your specialty teas. The waiter welcomed the two of them to a seat by the window, then bowed and left. As soon as he sat down, Zhang Feng heard the news he wanted. Palace Master Zhang, we found many secret sentinels from forces on the road, but what happened in Hangzhou City? A well-dressed man with a jade ring on his hand who looked like an official asked. The person in question had bulging temples and his hands were covered with calluses. This person is the leader of the Hangzhou branch of Caobang. The Caogong is one of the largest gangs in the world, on par with the beggar clan. The Cao clan occupies countless water transport terminals in various countries, and its financial resources and connections far surpass those of the beggar clan. The water gangs in different countries are equivalent to the water transportation gang alliances in various countries. Cao gangs from various countries jointly elect a highly respected person as the overall leader. The general leader has only a symbolic meaning, mainly to strengthen the connection between the Cao gangs in various countries. Each country in the Cao gang has a gang leader, who is the one who truly holds the power. In addition, the person who is in charge of the territory of a state is the helmsman of the branch. Under the helmsman, there is the branch altar master who is in charge of a county. He was even responsible for the incense owner of a county. In some important cities, such as state capitals and other places, separate hall masters have been established. It is well organized and looks like a small court. Even the imperial court's material transportation relied on Caobang, which was a real behemoth. It is precisely because Caobang is not monolithic, but operates independently in each country. And to a certain extent, it has strengthened the ties between countries. Therefore, all major imperial courts acquiesced in the existence of the Caobang. The Zhang family often deals with the Caobang in their business, so they know a lot about the Caobang. Brother Wang, don't be anxious. I've arranged for someone to find out the news. We'll find out later. Hall Master Zhang is here. The Caobang has strengthened the connections between various countries, and it is difficult to find a force like the Caobang that travels between various countries at any time. When it comes to being well informed, no one is better. Because of this, Caobang was seriously infiltrated by external forces, especially the intelligence organizations of major forces. Even if the Zhang family has placed personnel in the Caobang, this is one of the values of the Caobang's existence. Brother Zhang, could there be such a big movement in the black market last night related to what happened last night? Wang Yuanwei looked around and lowered his voice. Last night, many people heard about the black market. Because the strength of the person taking action is unpredictable. In addition to the forces behind the black market with related interests. Not many forces actually sent their elite to investigate. Hall Master Zhang pondered. It's very possible. Then there are dragons that have never been seen before, and others will never see them take action for the rest of their lives. If it wasn't for something important, it would be hard to make such a big fuss. Mentioning the person who took action last night, Hall Master Yang's face was full of yearning. He is the leader of the Cao gang and holds a high position of authority. He is a high-ranking figure in the eyes of ordinary people. But in front of those existences, they are still like ants. Power and money make people crazy. Strength can make people fly to the flames, and they will never regret it. Strength represents not only strength, but also long life. The higher the position and the more powerful one is, the more they desire power and immortality after their basic needs are met. Not long after, a man in black walked straight up to Hall Master Zhang. Before he could get closer, Hall Master Zhang said, "Brother Wang is not an outsider, just tell me." "Yes, Hall Master," the visitor said. "We found out who the local forces in Hangzhou are looking for. Focus on other forces and people with rich financial resources." Hall Master Zhang frowned. Looking for someone. This news quite surprised him. Could it be that the existing relative disappeared in Hangzhou? Impossible. Hall Master Zhang shook his head. If this is the case, the best way is to seek help from the Cao clan and beggar clan. When it comes to finding someone, which force can be better than the Cao clan and the beggar clan joining forces? Since there is no contact with the Cao gang, it is very likely that this person is related to the treasure, and it is not convenient to reveal some secrets. While Hall Master Zhang was thinking about it, he made a rough guess about what happened. There was an unspeakable light shining in his eyes. Then, he sighed dejectedly. Snatching food from the tiger's mouth will not lead to a happy ending. Hall Master Zhang gave up the dangerous thoughts in his mind. This matter can be uploaded to the sub-forum. If it is as expected, it is better to have some soup than nothing. Thinking of this, Hall Master Zhang stood up and said, "Brother Wang, I have something important to do, so I have to take a step forward." "Brother Zhang, please." Hall Master Zhang left in a hurry. Wang Yuanwei had a thoughtful look in his eyes and followed him away. The masked man strictly ordered the major families behind the black market not to disclose the specific situation to the outside world. It was out of caution that we did not invite the Sao gang and the beggar clan. These two gangs are too complicated, especially the Sao gang, which has been penetrated into a sieve. He can threaten and dominate several major forces in Hangzhou. But hidden behind the shadows in the Sao clan and the beggar clan is the real behemoth. Once the real news leaks, I'm afraid those really big shots will jump out. The news about the shadow demon cannot be hidden for long. Each force has its own intelligence agency. It is not important news and will be reported step by step. The shadow demon whose beast core was damaged is not a big news among the people in charge at the bottom. This bought him some time. Of course, the time gained is limited. When the people behind the top forces react, it is still unclear who will win. It is precisely because of this that the masked man conceals his true identity. He wasn't given much time. He made up his mind to find the shadow demon within today. After getting it, he ran away and everything settled. In the morning, interested people discovered strange situations in Hangzhou. Combined with last night's movements, various intelligence agencies began to investigate, and a storm was brewing in Hangzhou. Near the city gate, the major forces arranged spies. Specially keep an eye on people entering and leaving the city. The He family is one of the largest families in Hangzhou. At this time, the masked man sat in the hall. The ancestor of the He family bowed and stood on one side. "No news yet." There was a hint of urgency in the masked man's voice. "Sir, no trace of the shadow demon has been found yet. Control has been deployed everywhere in Hangzhou. If anything unusual is found, it can be found immediately." The ancestor of the He family hurriedly replied. The masked man tapped his fingers on the table and muttered, "There are still some places that I haven't checked yet." The ancestor of the He family replied, "In addition to those foreign forces based in Hangzhou, local forces, including residences in Hangzhou City, have arranged for people to search. The waters of external forces are too deep, and they will only scare the enemy." Adertisement. The masked man asked to start the search from other forces in Hangzhou. However, the shadow of the shadow demon was not found. "From now on, no matter what force is inside, let me go in and search them all." The masked man couldn't wait any longer and ordered directly. "Yes, sir," the ancestor of the He family said with a hint of worry. "Some forces are still stronger than our major families. What if they get in the way?" The masked man said with a cold expression, "Just say it's what I mean. If you can't figure it out, tell me." A murderous intent rushed towards him. "Yes." The ancestor of the He family resigned and left. At this time, he couldn't control so many consequences. "I hope other forces will cooperate." Zhang Feng finished his morning tea and returned to the Hangzhou branch of the Zhongjia Chamber of Commerce. The Hangzhou branch is the dispatch center of the Zhang family's Hangzhou industry, with pavilions and pavilions stretching into one. Not long after arriving, the newly appointed person in charge hurried over to report, "Master, members of several major families in Hangzhou are now joining forces to raid the Zhang family branch. They are going too far." His face looked very ugly. The strength of the Zhang family is not inferior to these families. Let him in and search. Where is the Zhang family's reputation? Not to mention several big families in Hangzhou. Even in the imperial court, there are many people who don't give face. The territory the imperial court had to manage was too large. If you want peace in the world, you can't offend all forces. Take me to see it. Zhang Feng's eyes moved. Outside the Zhang family branch, a dozen people wearing different family costumes stood outside and did not force their way in. The heads of each family do not want to fall out with all the forces. I specifically explained this to my subordinates. Unless something is impossible, don't force it. What do you mean by surrounding my Zhang family? You'd better give me an explanation. Zhang Feng's face was angry, looking young and frivolous. The leader cupped his hands and said, I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang, we have to do this out of necessity. We are also entrusted by others. Mr. Zhang, you must have heard what happened last night. Master Zhang, please think carefully, otherwise we won't be the ones waiting. This person explained the reason and secretly pointed out that the person behind it was untouchable. Zhang Feng's eyes flickered, and he looked like he was strong on the outside but strong on the inside. HMPH, hurry up, I'm giving that person face. Thank you very much. The leader waved his hand and said, go in and search carefully. A group of people filed in. After a cup of tea, they all left. The leader said, Mr. Zhang, we also want to search the Zhang family's properties. Please cooperate. That's all, Manager Liu, just go with them. Zhang Feng waved his hand feebly. Yes, master. Zhang Feng's eyes flickered, these people would definitely not be able to find anything. How should that person respond? Braving the disapproval of the world and arresting all those who are suspicious. Zhang Feng shook his head. If it is certain that the shadow demon is in the hands of a suspicious person, it is possible to do this. If the person who bought shadow demon last night did not enter the city that night and left Hangzhou directly, everything would be in vain. It is unlikely that everyone who suspects this will be arrested. Boom. At this moment, there was another roar somewhere in the city. Go and arrange for someone to find out what happened. Zhang Feng ordered. Not long after, the secret guard sent someone to reply. Young master, that was the branch of the money gang. He prevented several big families from searching, and was destroyed by the people behind the scenes. The secret guard was extremely shocked when he saw that the money gang's station was turned into ruins with a slap. This level of strength simply exceeded his cognition. The money gang is a gang that has emerged in recent years, headed by Shangguan Jinhong. Rise in the Song dynasty. The power is developing rapidly, as if it is coming from behind. The money gang has strong financial resources and is extremely powerful. It has always been smooth sailing, no wonder it doesn't give face to several big families. I'm afraid the money gang will suffer a hidden loss this time. Zhang Feng shook his head. The strength of the person behind the scenes is at least above that of the Grandmaster realm. The money gang has developed so smoothly that it is difficult to distinguish between kings and kings. Compared with those who actually play the chess game, their background is much worse. Perhaps following the lessons learned from the Qian gang, the major family's search in Hangzhou went extremely smoothly. The other forces gave in one after another. Some small local gangs also joined in. Many people took advantage of this opportunity to rob, and there was a trend of chaos in Hangzhou. Those affected are mainly traders with little background. As the movement grew louder and louder, finally, information about what was being sought came to light. Countless homing pigeons flew out of Hangzhou. It's evening in a blink of an eye. Suddenly, a very strong momentum came from outside the city and appeared in the city in the blink of an eye. A voice sounded from the city of Hangzhou. Which fellow Taoist is staying here, please come out and see me. The voice is like a spring breeze, as if it is in your ears. Zhang Feng glanced at him. This was another master above the Grandmaster realm. Huang Shang, do you want to stop me? The masked man finally appeared, suspended in midair, facing the visitor head-on. Is it Huang Shang? Hiss. Everyone was talking a lot. Several members of the big families breathed a sigh of relief. They were on pins and needles in front of the masked man. At least Huang Shang will tell them the rules. Huang Shang was a legendary figure from the Song dynasty hundreds of years ago. His legendary story is well known to everyone in the Song dynasty. Unexpectedly, he is still alive now. It is said that he was originally a scholar with no cultivation, organizing Taoist collections in the Imperial Library of the Song dynasty. Over time, I read countless scriptures. One day he had an epiphany, stepped into the Grandmaster realm from a mortal, created the Nine Yin Sutra, and was regarded as the Grand Master of the Song dynasty. It's just that he has long since stopped caring about world affairs. Unexpectedly, he has survived until now, and his cultivation has obviously improved. Zhang Feng's eyes were filled with fire. Nine Yin Sutra, I wonder if the Tomb sect has it. The Nine Yin Sutra in the Tomb sect should have been circulated during the time of Huangshang Grand Master. Now Huangshang has gone a step further, and the Nine Yin Sutra may be even more perfect. If you get the Nine Yin Sutra, the Primordial Origin Sutra and the Innate Realm Technique are not far from the divine level. Your Majesty hides your head and shrinks your tail, stirring up trouble in our Song dynasty. Do you think that our Song dynasty has no one? Huangshang made his position clear. The Song dynasty has been standing in the world for hundreds of years, and its heritage is unfathomable. Naturally, there are masters above the Grand Master realm. The momentum between the two exchanged, but Zhang Feng couldn't tell the difference. The gap in strength was too big. Only to hear a sudden explosion in midair, the two of them fought. Are you a skilled worker with bloody hands? On the first day of the fight, Huangshang recognized the identity of the person coming. At this level, the number of masters is limited, and they have more or less heard of each other's names. Facing Huangshang, Li Gong could not hide his methods. Hard work, hiss. The former number one person in the Great Yuan Demon Sect. After cultivating the purple blood Dafa to the realm of great accomplishment, the blood all over my body turns purple. Those who follow me will prosper and those who go against me will perish. I am proud of the world. Why did you come to Song Dynasty? Dayuan is located in the northwest corner of Song Dynasty, connected with Song Dynasty, and has always been eyeing it. However, other countries have restraints, coupled with Taoist support. Dayuan has always been unable to do anything to Song. The laws of the Song dynasty were the loosest among all countries. The Zhonggu forces had a good impression of the Song dynasty court. Secretly, the Zhonggu forces of the Song dynasty supported the imperial court more than other countries. This can be regarded as the unique way of survival in the Song dynasty. The two of them retreated in one blow, and Li Gong said, Ming people don't tell secret words. Huangshang, I don't believe you are not interested in the Shadow Demon. Find the Shadow Demon and decide the outcome with you. Huangshang stroked his beard and said, Pindao is indeed a little curious about the Shadow Demon, but he doesn't pay as much attention to it as you think. The poor Taoist only cultivates himself, so there is no need to rely on external things. No matter what, Pindao cannot tolerate your misbehavior in our Song dynasty. If every great Grand Master is like you, the world will be in chaos. The great Grand Master is too destructive and has hidden rules between them. Do not attack anyone below the great Grand Master easily. Everyone has a few juniors they value. If you are not careful, you will draw the flames of war onto yourself, triggering a war between the two countries. Li Gong's eyes flickered. 1 day, give me 1 day. If you don't find it, how about I retreat? Huangshang pondered for a while. Li Gong's strength is not much weaker than him. He wants to leave, but he can't keep him alone. At present, the hard work is still in the open. If it turns from light to dark and causes destruction in the Song dynasty, he will also have a headache. So he said, yes, but, please don't hurt anyone again. That's my bottom line. If you don't agree, you might have to do it again. Okay, I agree. Li Gong spoke readily. His purpose is to find the Shadow Demon, which does not conflict with Huangshang. He was glad in his heart that it was Huangshang who came this time. If it were anyone else, I'm afraid it wouldn't be that easy to talk to. Even fight with him. The next day, Li Gong looked ugly. He himself joined the search party. Search inch by inch for those forces that are most likely to appear. However, no shadow of the Shadow Demon was seen. Li Gong didn't believe that someone would contract the Shadow Demon so quickly. Then there is only one possibility. The person who bought the Shadow Demon that night did not enter the city, but left Hangzhou. Huangshang breathed a sigh of relief. The whereabouts of the Shadow Demon are unknown, which is the best outcome. Even if he has little interest in the Shadow Demon, he will never be an enemy and tolerate Li Gong taking the Shadow Demon out of the Song dynasty. No matter who has the Shadow Demon in his hands, someone from the Song dynasty has the greatest possibility. It doesn't make anyone else any cheaper. A fight at the Great Grand Master level can affect the entire body. He did not want to fight Li Gong unless he had to, causing tension in Song and Mang. No matter how unwilling Li Gong was, he knew that the Shadow Demon had no chance with him. Fellow Taoist, it's time. Huang Shang said. HMPH. No need for fellow Taoist to say anything. Li Gong snorted coldly and flew away in the air. Huang Shang followed closely, staring at Li Gong closely. People from the demon sect act unscrupulously. Huang Shang let the other great grandmasters go, except the demon sect. Li Gong knew the embarrassment of his identity and left the Song dynasty all the way. In case it really causes public outrage. It's true that the masters of the Song dynasty are all vegetarians. Hangzhou City. The departure of Huang Shang and Li Gong did not bring an end to this matter. Instead, the storm had just begun. It's okay for other forces, but they just lost some face. If several big families pay some price, this matter will not be difficult to solve. The key is money. The branch of the money gang was wiped out by Li Gong, so naturally they didn't dare to touch Li Gong's bad luck. However, the accomplices in this matter were the 4 major families in Hangzhou. It became a place for the money gang to vent their anger. During the development process of the money gang, it violated the interests of many forces. There are many people who are secretly dissatisfied. No one has ever taken the initiative to oppose it. If the money gang doesn't find its way back this time, it will be difficult. Other forces may take advantage of the situation and step on it. In a dark mountain, a huge space was dug out in the center of the mountain. The cave is brightly lit. In the center of a hall, Shangguan Jinhong sat on a large tiger skin chair. There were more than 10 masters sitting there. Astonishingly, the lowest level of strength is in the middle stage of innate. There are actually 5 grandmasters. Shangguan Jinhong's aura was 1 step away from the great grandmaster. Back then, Shangguan Jinhong gathered 17 masters to create the money gang. The power is unparalleled. There are even rumors in the world that when money comes, people's lives are at stake. This shows the great reputation of the money gang. Gang leader, the 4 major families in Hangzhou have already found ways to kill themselves. I really think that the money gang is a fool. Grandmaster Realm Master, Shang Song, known as Wind and Rain Twin Meteors, in the world, suggested. Gang leader, this matter needs to be considered more carefully. Each of the 4 major families in Hangzhou has more than 1 powerful grandmaster. It is not a big problem to deal with 1 or 2. If the 4 major families join forces, even if we win, the losses may be unbearable. The other grandmaster retorted with an arched hand. Humph, Zhuge Shang, when did your diamond iron crutch become soft? Shang Song spoke with sarcasm. Zhuge Shang, the king of diamonds and iron crutches, is not as powerful as Shang Song. The 2 never dealt with each other. It's better than a reckless man. Zhuge Shang retorted unceremoniously. You, Shang Song's face flushed with anger. All right, Shangguan Jinhong spoke, and both of them snorted lightly and said no more. Shangguan Jinhong was a man of his word in the money gang. Only with Shangguan Jinhong could there be a money gang. Shangguan Jinhong's cultivation level is only at the peak of Grandmaster. But the gap between Grandmaster and Grandmaster is like the difference between clouds and mud. Shangguan Jinhong is a double flower Grandmaster, whose strength is far superior to Shang Song and Zhuge Shang. Wu Ming, what do you think about this matter? Shangguan Jinhong looked at the young man on the left and asked. This person only has the innate realm, but he is sitting in front of a group of Grandmasters. Others seemed to acquiesce to this. Without him, Jing Wuming condensed the double flowers and could break through the Grandmaster realm at any time. If it weren't for the illusory 3rd flower, he would have become a Grandmaster. Jing Wuming's eyes were deathly gray, without any emotion or fluctuation. Others subconsciously kept a distance from him. Only Shangguan Jinhong trusted him unconditionally. Jing Wuming lived up to Shangguan Jinhong's trust and was loyal to him. He was Shangguan Jinhong's right-hand man. Jing Wuming's eyes did not waver. He leaned a little and said, My Chang gang is not the only one who has objections to the 4 major families in Hangzhou City. We just need a leader. The 4 major families have been entrenched in Hangzhou for many years and have countless collections. There must be many people interested in them. Jing Wuming explained the power in just a few words. Ha 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 ha, Wuming is right. Upon hearing this, Shangguan Jinhong patted the right handrail and ordered, Master Zhuge, I will leave this matter to you. Contact other forces in Hangzhou City to make sure this matter is done well. Yes, Zhuge Shang cupped his hands and said. In a few words, the matter was settled. Jongjia branch. The leader of the secret guard came to report. Master, the money gang invited me, the Zhang family, to deal with the 4 major families. To show sincerity, the money gang promises to take the lead, and the spoils will be distributed afterwards based on contributions. When Zhang Feng heard this, he said without even thinking, I refuse directly. My Zhang family is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. We value peace and will not participate in this matter. Yes, young master, the secret guard said, cupping his hands. Wait a minute, tell the Qian gang, and the Zhang family will pretend that they don't know about this. Zhang Feng explained again. Yes, the secret guard turned and left. The Zhang family is a force of the Chamber of Commerce, no matter what happens behind the scenes. On the surface, harmony must be valued. In the final analysis, the 4 major families are also victims of this matter. In addition, this matter is not about undying hatred. The Zhang family's move would do more harm than good. It's morally unacceptable. The rules of survival for family forces and gang forces such as the money gang are different. As long as gangs have enough interests, even conflicts of temper can lead to life and death battles. The family values inheritance and long-term interests more, and is not on the same page as underworld forces such as the money gang. The Zhang family must be an upright, philanthropic Zhang family. What does the secret guard have to do with the Zhang family? If the Zhang family is not involved in this matter, I might be able to plan it myself. Zhang Feng's eyes sparkled. The innate realm technique only reaches heaven level and lacks sufficient nutrients. If you get the inherited skills from the 4 major families and learn from each other's strengths, you may be able to reach the divine level. He family courtyard. The Lin family, Wang family, Zhou family and He family are collectively known as the 4 major families. No matter how secretive the money gang operates, he was causing trouble on other people's territory, and eventually the 4 major families discovered the clues. Brother He, how can this matter be resolved? The ancestor of the Lin family spoke. The 4 major families have gone through ups and downs, although they usually have a lot of nasty things going on with each other. Once faced with a foreign enemy, they will act unanimously against the outside world. Because of this, the 4 major families have stood firm in Hangzhou for hundreds of years. Can you find out which forces are taking action this time? The ancestor of the He family asked in a deep voice. In addition to the money gang, the 12 Feipang gang, the Cinnabar gang, and the Divine Sword Hall have confirmed that they will take action. The ancestor of the Lin family continued. I'm afraid there are not a few people who secretly rob us. As long as the 4 major families show signs of decline, I'm afraid other forces will pounce on us like hungry wolves. The ancestor of the Zhou family said, Brother He, can the Zhezhou garrison take action? The He family is known as the head of the 4 major families in Hangzhou because the eldest daughter of the head of the He family married the commander of the Zhezhou garrison. He had a certain influence on the military of the Song dynasty. The ancestor of the He family shook his head and said, You know the situation in the Song dynasty. As long as it does not affect the people, the government will not participate in the disputes between Zhanggu forces. Well, everyone sighed after hearing this. In the past, I felt that it was a good thing for the court not to interfere in the world, but it was a pity that it was my turn to be the one to blame, and that I couldn't take advantage of it. The garrison cannot take action, but there is no problem in protecting the family's descendants. The outcome of this matter is unpredictable. I am planning to send the family's descendants to the army. If there is an accident, it can be regarded as keeping the fire for the family. Patriarch He sighed. The garrison cannot take action due to rules. No matter how powerful the money gang was, they would not dare to attack the garrison rashly. This is tantamount to conspiracy and is tantamount to breaking up with the Song dynasty court. Once this is done, the money gang will be destroyed. Therefore, Patriarch He did not have too many worries about the safety of his family's descendants. Brother He, has the matter reached this point? The ancestor of the Zhou family said in a deep voice. Just in case. No matter what the outcome of this battle is, as long as people are around, there is a chance for a comeback. Several ancestors were very decisive and decided to arrange their families to a safe place. Each family has been passed down for hundreds of years and has more or less connections with the government. It is not difficult to keep a low profile and live in seclusion to preserve the family legacy. Ancestor, he said with a cautious expression, let me give you a warning. There is no problem in arranging the transfer of future generations, but don't be greedy. The ancestor of the Zhou family changed his expression and said, Brother He, what does this mean? As long as you leave, don't take away your belongings. The ancestor of the He family let out a long sigh. People's hearts are unpredictable. Without the protection of family power, the more things you take away, the more dangerous it will be. The eyes of the ancestors flickered, and it was not known what they were thinking. The ancestor of the He family shook his head secretly. Everyone has different ideas, so he could only say so much. That's it, everyone, please do your own thing. After the personnel are transferred, the others can gather together. Farewell, farewell. The three ancestors said goodbye and left. The ancestor of the He family came to a secret courtyard, where the head of the He family and a man wearing a Song dynasty military uniform were waiting. Ancestor. The head of the He family saluted. The man in military uniform also clasped his fists and saluted. The ancestor of the He family waved his hand and said, no need to be polite. Janur, please immediately arrange for the transfer of people under the innate family. Except for daily expenses, don't bring anything with you. Then he raised his hands to the man in military uniform and said, General Yang, please. General Yang returned the greeting and said, General, I will be entrusted by the commander to take the He family away safely. At the end of tonight, in the name of changing defenses, the He family can put on their military uniforms and leave Hangzhou with us. So, thank you very much. If the He family can survive this disaster safely, there will be a generous reward. Patriarch, he said gratefully. The marriage with the commander of the Zhezhou garrison took into account possible crises in the future. Unexpectedly, it was actually used. Other families, each showing their divine ability, use different methods to transfer family members. Different from the He family. The other three major families brought many large and small bags. He even brought the family's core heritage with him. It's getting late. Many strange faces appeared in Hangzhou, all with murderous looks on their faces. In a secret residence, Money Gang Shangguan Jinhong and other core gang members gathered together. There are also three unfamiliar figures, whose aura is only slightly inferior to that of Shangguan Jinhong. These three people are the leaders of the 12 Flying Pong Gang, the Cinnabar Gang and the Divine Sword Hall. The leader of the Zhuxia Gang raised his hands and said, Master Shangguan, the four major families have moved a lot of people and brought a lot of treasures with them. We are the ones who have lost. Shangguan Jinhong laughed and said, Don't worry, gang leader Zhu, I have arranged for the gang to follow those members of the big families. It's quite troublesome for the He family to be in the army. According to the news from NZ, Patriarch He is a shrewd man. The He family didn't take away much wealth. As for the other three families, among the people arranged by the government, they carried a lot of large and small bags. Gang leader Zhu answered, We really don't know how to live or die. Don't we dare to move if we are mixed in the official ranks. The officials' interference in Zhonggu affairs has crossed the line. If we do it, the court will have nothing to say. The master of the Divine Sword Hall said with a greedy face, Yes, if only one person leaves, it may not be a loss to the court. Don't blame us for bringing so much wealth. Others quickly came to a consensus. The He family let's go first. First of all, the He family did not take away much wealth. Secondly, they are unwilling to have a head-on conflict with the military, as the gains outweigh the losses. As for the other three families, they will be killed without mercy. With the remaining energy, try not to move official personnel, which can be regarded as giving face to the Song dynasty court. Presumably, the Song dynasty court would not say anything more after knowing this. After each family arranged for the old, weak, women and children to leave, they gathered in the courtyard of the He family. The He family has 3 Grandmaster, one of whom is a peak Grandmaster, one is an intermediate Grandmaster, and one is an early stage Grandmaster. The other 2 have 2 Grandmasters each, and each has a Grandmaster late stage master. 9 Grandmasters gathered together. There are dozens of innate masters. The master of innate, who can usually take charge of a large family, seems ordinary among the crowd. Zhang Feng got the news about the siege of the 4 major families, and had long been hiding in the dark. This time, his target is the martial arts of the 4 major families. From a distance, I noticed the rising aura in the He family courtyard. I secretly marveled in my heart. The names of the 4 major families are really not just blown away. No wonder it has been the leader of the Hangzhou family for many years. This background is probably not much different from that of the Zhang family. The He family is stationed in a relatively remote place on the outskirts of the city. In a large area, there was no one else except the He family. The fighting between the two sides will not affect others. Not long after, Zhang Feng heard a series of whooshing sounds coming from a distance, and the target was the He family compound. Coming, Zhang Feng concentrated on guarding and restrained his breath. The shadow behind him enveloped Zhang Feng, not a trace of breath leaking out. Zhang Feng secretly praised that this is another function of the shadow demon. After the shadow is wrapped, the breath does not leak out, surpassing the top breath collecting techniques. This gave him more confidence in his actions tonight. Looking towards the woods not far away, he felt the presence of faint auras. It seems that I'm not the only one who is behind this. Zhang Feng leaned down. There are too many monsters tonight, and whichever side shows signs of weakness may be surrounded by others. I wonder how the 4 major families and the money gang will deal with it. The guests have arrived, go out and greet them. Hearing the noise outside, Patriarch He spoke. Figures appeared outside the He family manor one after another, led by none other than Shangguan Jinhong, the leader of the money gang. This time, all 6 grandmasters from the money gang gathered together, and the other 2 gangs each had 2 grandmasters, for a total of 12 grandmasters. The number of innate masters is more than 10 less than that of the 4 major families. The money gang has only been around for a short period of time. Compared with the 4 major families, it lacks some foundation and innate experts are not at an advantage. However, there were 3 more grandmasters after all. Comparing the strength of the 2 sides, money gives one side a slight advantage. If we fight over this, no matter which side wins, it will probably be a miserable victory. Shangguan Jinhong looked at the darkness around him and spoke first. Since so many friends are here, why not show up and meet them? As long as you help us win over the 4 major families, I promise that the wealth will be distributed according to the amount of contribution. The escapees from the 4 major families are all under the surveillance of my money gang, and everyone will have a share of the spoils. Shangguan Jinhong had a certain advantage on the surface, but his words aroused the thoughts of many people in the dark. Hearing that the clan members were being monitored by the money gang, there was a commotion among the 4 major families. Quiet, Patriarch He shouted loudly, and if he didn't say anything else, people's hearts would disperse. Naturally, he would not let the neutral forces be easily won over by Shangguan Jinhong. Ancestor, he said coldly, everyone will make empty promises, so why don't we make some practical promises? If you all stand on the side of my 4 major families, you can make a copy of the classics of my He family. Patriarch He spent a lot of money. The secret book of martial arts is the foundation of family inheritance, but he took it out without hesitation. If this battle is defeated, not only the secrets of the skills, but also other wealth will be wiped out by the money gang and others. Instead of doing this, it is better to take the initiative to take it out. After Patriarch He said this, he looked at the other 3 ancestors. The classics of the 3 families have been carried with the descendants. If this battle is defeated, the lives of the descendants may not be saved. Instead of doing this, the ancestor of the Zhou family said, I promise to assist my 4 major families in this battle. You can make a copy of the Zhou family's secret book. The same goes for the Lin family. The same goes for the Wang family. The ancestors of the He family and Zhou family spoke, and the Lin family and Wang family immediately followed. They understand. Family strength requires time to accumulate and cannot be equaled by a few skills. It doesn't matter if you give it to someone else. The most important thing is to keep the family. If the people are gone, what's the point of leaving the skills? Shangguan Jinhong's expression changed. These old guys were willing to do it. The most precious thing among the 4 major families is nothing more than the secrets of martial arts. Other money, land deeds, and property are all external possessions. There are many lone rangers here tonight, but they are not interested in those properties. What they value is the secrets of the techniques. Do the 4 major families really mean what they say? A masked figure walked out of the darkness, staring at the ancestor of the He family with burning eyes. Ancestor Yi's eyes lit up. The person coming was a Grandmaster Realm. He laughed and said grandly, "If fellow Taoist is worried, you might as well copy the secrets of my He family's exercises first. How about letting fellow Taoist copy the secrets of the other 3 families after this war?" The ancestors of the 3 families all nodded. "Our family still has this credit." The masked figure nodded and said, "Okay, in that case, I will advance and retreat together with the 4 major families." Shangguan Jinhong's promise was a blank piece of paper. No one knows exactly what will happen after the battle. He was alone. After the battle, his value was gone and he couldn't compete with the money gang. On the contrary, the promises made by the 4 major families are clear and even more reassuring. The atmosphere on the field was quite subtle for a moment, and another figure walked out. "Is there any requirement for cultivation level?" "I don't have Grandmaster cultivation level. The only person who can manifest a physical form is the innate realm." Patriarchy smiled heartily. "Since this opening has been made, innate realm can naturally make a copy." Then Patriarchy continued, "Of course, this matter is unfair to the Grandmaster Realm experts. So after the war, each of the Grandmaster Realm experts who participated in the war received 3 more century-old medicines. Everyone has no objection to this arrangement, right? As it should be, I will fight side by side with the 4 major families." The strong innate appeared and stood on the side of the 4 major families. The ancestor of the He family initially wanted to win over the powerful Grandmaster. Now that a strong innate person has stepped forward, the technique has to be leaked anyway, and I don't care if it is leaked to a few more people. In order to take into account the feelings of the powerful Grandmaster, certain distinctions must be made, and the 3 medicinal herbs can be regarded as compensation. The ancestors of the other 3 families acquiesced to this matter. Zhang Feng's eyes lit up. His goal is the secrets of the 4 major families' techniques. No matter how smooth the original plan was, it could not catch up with all the techniques. The recruitment of the 4 major families was exactly what he wanted. With his cultivation level, he was unable to fight against a top Grandmaster like Shangguan Jinhong. However, he was quite confident in saving his life. The most important thing is that he only has innate cultivation, which is very deceptive. If he keeps a low profile and hides in it, he will be foolproof. Even if the 4 major families were defeated, he would still have the confidence to escape. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng appeared in a mask and joined the ranks of the 4 major families. He said in a loud voice, "Count me in." At this time, it was Shangguan Jinhong's turn to be anxious. Everyone has gone to the side of the 4 major families, so why are they fighting? Join the Qian gang, and the 4 major families will share their skills. Moreover, the Qian gang will voluntarily give up their property and hand it over to you. I believe that I, Shangguan Jinhong, still have this credit. Shangguan Jinhong spoke loudly. When things got to this point, he was in a dilemma. If this battle is lost, it will definitely be a huge blow to the reputation of the money gang. It even makes people who are watching you secretly have thoughts that they shouldn't have. Shangguan Jinhong had to give up most of his interests. The 4 major families have such courage. Am I, Shangguan Jinhong, wrong? If the 4 major families are destroyed, the classics will also disappear. I'm afraid that your efforts will be in vain. Patriarchy said deliberately. In fact, no matter what the outcome, the classics of the He family have remained. This was a life-saving means left for those who were transferred to the He family before the war. If the He family's wealth is not taken away, the situation of others will be safer. Now, Patriarchy is using the matter of Kung Fu to dampen the hopes of others and pull neutral people to his side. Most of the people in the dark showed up one after another and chose sides. You can see the benefits promised by the 4 major families. As long as the 4 major families survive, everyone will have a copy of the classics. In addition, some people are really afraid that the 4 major families will destroy the classics and make nothing. So most of the people joined the side of the 4 major families. There are also people who joined the money gang. Some people not only want classics, but also want to find a place to establish themselves in Hangzhou. Including people secretly cultivated by other forces in Hangzhou. The 4 major families will never be destroyed. They will always be suppressed and have no chance of success. This time is the best opportunity. The most annoying thing is that some forces are betting on both sides. While joining the four major families to seek martial arts, at the same time joining the money gang to weaken the four major families. Under the arrangement of each party's evil intentions, the forces on both sides have actually reached an anomaly balance. You underestimated the four major families. Shangguan Jinhong looked gloomy and sighed. He lured others with benefits, and the four major families also lured them with benefits. This battle is led by the money gang, and the arrow is on the string and must be fired. Not only must we fight, but we must also break this hard nut and build up the momentum of the money gang. Shangguan Jinhong looked around inadvertently and said, "How about we clean up the bugs hidden in the dark first?" Patriarch, he said in tacit agreement. That's exactly what I meant. Everyone else has chosen sides, but there are still people who want to be fishermen, hoping to hurt both sides and let them pick the peaches. Why not go to heaven? What if someone else is a fool? Shangguan Jinhong and He Laozu rose into the air and pounced on one location respectively. The battle begins with a secret competition between the two. Ah, ah, two screams sounded. After Shangguan Jinhong and He Laozu killed one person, they quickly rushed to other positions. At this time, the person hiding in the dark finally realized that something was wrong. Suddenly, several figures flew out of the darkness and fled into the distance. Then, the two of them had no intention of letting go. Both sides are chasing an early Grandmaster Master. I have no intention of participating in the fight between the two parties, so how about leaving here? I just happened to meet you, so I'll say goodbye. The two Grandmasters made their respective positions clear. However, neither Shangguan Jinhong nor Patriarch had any plans to stop. I am willing to join the four major families. I am willing to join the money gang. Under the attack of the two peak Grandmasters, the two early Grandmaster Masters began to compromise. However, they failed to understand the situation. Shangguan Jinhong and He Laozu both need a Grandmaster to establish their authority and tell others not to be clever when taking things. Otherwise, even the Grandmaster will still be killed. Ah, that's too much. I'll fight with you. The two Grandmasters did not last long in the early stages, and both died without resting in peace. Zhang Feng glared. The two of them were trying to scare the monkeys. He had just broken through innate, and with his current strength, he had no big problem with the two killed Grandmasters in the early stage, and even defeated them. However, there is still an insurmountable gap compared to Shangguan Jinhong and He Laozu. The gap in realm is too big. Zhang Feng could see their intentions, and there were also smart people who temporarily joined both teams. I'm afraid, soy sauce won't work anymore. For a moment, the atmosphere on the field was a little heavy. After cleaning up the bugs, Shangguan Jinhong held the Dragon and Phoenix Golden Ring, glanced at Ancestor He, and said loudly, "A battle." I think so too. Ancestor He was holding a large golden ring sword with a fierce fighting spirit. Bang! The confrontation between the two was like a signal to start a war. The ancestor of the Zhou family shouted, "Do it!" As soon as he finished speaking, he chose his opponent, the master of the Divine Sword Hall. The ancestors of the Wang family and the Lin family faced off against the leaders of the 12 Feipeng gang and the Cinnabar gang respectively. Others fight soldiers against soldiers and against generals. Grandmaster fights with Grandmaster, innate fights with innate. Zhang Feng was only in the early stage of innate, so he chose an opponent who was in the early stage of innate and started a lively fight. He used half of his mind to check the situation around him while fighting. The most intense battle was between Shangguan Jinhong and the ancestor of the He family. Both of them are at the pinnacle of the Double Flower Grandmaster realm. The golden ring sword in the hand of the ancestor of the He family was slashed out, and the light of the sword, which was several feet long, swept everything with an astonishing cold light. The light of the sword fell on the ground, and in an instant, a ditch about 10 feet long and 1 foot deep was cut out of the ground. Everything that resisted along the way was annihilated in the light of the sword. The Dragon and Phoenix Golden Ring in Shangguan Jinhong's hand is made of something special. Ranked on by Xiaosheng's weapon list, the two golden rings each have a handle. The dark part of the handle is connected to the gold ring through a special steel cable, and the periphery of the gold ring is a sharp steel blade. It can attack both melee'ly and remotely via the steel cable, making it extremely anomaly. The rare weapons combined with Shangguan Jinhong's strength made the ancestor of the He family quite difficult to guard against. Below, everyone else was fighting each other, and soon there were casualties. Zhang Feng was playing soy sauce on the side, showing the fighting power that a normal early innate master should have. The more you dance, the faster you die. He doesn't want to attract attention. Wait until the battle is almost over before finishing off your opponent. By then, no one can say anything. Suddenly, Zhang Feng couldn't help but notice a young man in his 20s. His eyes are deathly gray and he holds a sword in his left hand. In a short period of time, he actually killed 2 masters from the same realm. Zhang Feng thought thoughtfully, this person must be Jing Wuming. He vaguely remembered that Jing Wuming showed others his left-hand sword, but no one knew that Jing Wuming's strongest sword was not his left-hand sword, but his right-hand sword. Everyone who saw the sword drawn by his right hand was dead. When the surrounding innate masters saw Jing Wuming, they tried to avoid him. Finally Jing Wuming attracted the attention of others, and a silver needle struck Jing Wuming from a distance. Jing Wuming's expression changed, and he swung his long sword, forming a sword curtain that water could not penetrate. The tinkling sounds kept ringing, and he looked at the intruder with a solemn face. Dongfang Bubai is here too. Zhang Feng had a weird smile on his face. Dongfang Bubai wore a mask on his face and covered up his figure to a certain extent. However, the iconic silver needle is too eye-catching. The number of famous masters in the world who use silver needles as weapons can be counted on one hand. Using Kimin weapons is the easiest way to reveal your identity. Dongfang Bubai had a long sword as a spare, but when he saw Jing Wuming taking action, he was very happy to see him. It was not easy to find a matching opponent, so naturally I used the silver needle that I was good at. Are you Dongfang Bubai, the leader of the Sun Moon God sect? Jing Wuming looked wary. Dongfang Bubai said in a rough male voice, it's me. She traveled around the world, disguised as a man, and the people in the world did not know that Dongfang Bubai was a woman. Let me see the strength of the Eastern cult leader. After confirming Dongfang Bubai's identity, Jing Wuming aroused the fighting spirit in his heart. They are both geniuses on the Hidden Dragon ranking, but Dongfang Bubai is still ranked higher than Jing Wuming. Take this opportunity to try the gold content of Qianlong list. Jing Wuming waved a sword flower and stepped forward. The silver needles in Dongfang Bubai's hands are like recyclable bullets. The angle was extremely tricky, and he took advantage of his body skills to always keep a certain distance from Jing Wuming, and dominated the battle between the two sides. Faced with the harassment of silver needles, Jing Wuming defended more than he attacked. The gap in hard power between the two sides is not big, and it is almost impossible for Dongfang Invincible to win in a short time. Seeing that Dongfang Bubai had the upper hand, Zhang Feng stopped paying attention. Ah! At this time, a scream came from the field. Shang Song, the elder of the money gang, had his right arm cut off with a sword from the second ancestor of the He family. The second ancestor of the He family was in the middle stage of Grandmaster cultivation, a small level higher than Shang Song. All the mid-Grandmasters on the money gang have been restrained, but the He family has an extra mid-Grandmaster. Shang Song volunteered to contain the second ancestor of the He family. However, he overestimated his own strength after all. For most Jianggu people, being able to defeat opponents of the same level is considered to be a good level of strength. After all, fighting across the ranks only belongs to a small group of monstrous genius. Moreover, the second ancestor of the He family was able to break through the Grandmaster realm, and he was considered a genius of the previous generation. Zhuge Shang is closest to Shang Song. Although the two of them usually don't deal with each other, they should face the enemy in unison. Seeing that Shang Song's condition was not optimistic, he wanted to step forward to rescue him. The second ancestor of the Lin family was fighting against Zhuge Shang. How could he let go of such an opportunity? The second ancestor of the Lin family tried his best to hold Zhuge Shang back. Get out of my way. Zhuge Shang was furious, and the diamond iron crutch danced like a hot wheel. The strength of the second ancestor of the Lin family is not easy to deal with, and his defense is watertight, holding Zhuge Shang firmly in check. The second ancestor of the He family seized the opportunity and stabbed Shang Song in the throat with his sword. Shang Song was seriously injured, and after barely blocking a sword, the the second ancestor of the He family, pierced his throat with a sword. Before dying, seeing Zhuge Shang's desperate rescue, there was a smile in his eyes. Ah, Zhuge Shang is crazy. The two have been in love and killed each other for so many years. He couldn't accept the sudden death of his old rival. Frantically attacking the opponent, the second ancestor of the Lin family was under great pressure. After Shang Tsung died, the four major families gained a Grand Master, and the war tilted toward the side of the four major families. Money helps this side see the situation develop against them. In grief over the death of the rabbit and the fox, he gave up his conservative style of play and began to trade injuries for injuries to achieve a quick victory. The situation on the battlefield has become much bloody. From time to time, innate masters died at the hands of their opponents. The battlefield turned into a meat grinder. The leader of the 12 Feipang gang killed the ancestor of the Wang family with a sword in the chest, and he lost his combat effectiveness. Before he could withdraw from the battlefield, the crazy second ancestor of the Wang family became angry and gave up his defense. At the cost of losing an arm, he killed the leader of the 12 Feipang gang who had not had time to leave the battlefield with a sword. He was immediately stabbed on the spot by the opponent who came over. Die. At this point, the two Grandmaster realm experts from the Wang family have all died. The Wang family's vitality has been severely damaged, and the names of the four major families will definitely not be preserved. The Wang family's innate masters all went crazy. Facing the 12 Feipang gang, they all adopted a strategy of perish together. The leader of the 12 Feipang gang was killed by the second ancestor of the Wang family. However, gangs are inherently less cohesive than families. Some people even felt an inexplicable emotion in their hearts when they saw the gang leader's death. Under the mourning troops of the Wang family, the 12 Feipang gang was beaten and retreated. Seeing that the battle situation was getting more and more intense, Zhang Feng finally used a little bit of his strength. Kill the opponent with 3 punches and 2 kicks. Before he died, there was a hint of astonishment in the other person's eyes. It turned out that he was acting with me. Killing an opponent is not considered a stroke. Zhang Feng is quite satisfied with his performance. When each person kills his opponent, the enemy is completely destroyed. His contributions were at least average. It's almost time to paddle again. Zhang Feng looked at the 6 groups and chose an innate mid-level master who had just killed his opponent and was seriously injured, and started fighting back and forth. The battle situation in the audience was intensifying. Both sides were furious. The outcome of this battle is not on the court, but on Shangguan Jinhong and He Laozu. Shangguan Jinhong and He Laozu were attentive on the field. Both of them felt anxious in their hearts. However, both of them are at the peak of Double Flower Grandmaster. Shangguan Jinhong's strength slightly surpassed that of He Laozu, but he still couldn't defeat his opponent. Because of the battle for protection, the 4 major families will die if they don't win, and their forces are even more concentrated. So it has a slight upper hand. If it drags on, the money gang will most likely collapse. Shangguan Jinhong gritted his teeth and shouted, "The magic ring covers the sky." The dragon and phoenix golden rings turned into 2 magic rings covering the sky, spinning rapidly in midair. As it rotates, the true qi in the ring turns into sharp wind blades. 2 tornadoes formed in the ring, and the 2 tornadoes blocked all escape routes for the ancestors of the He family. Shangguan Jinhong's face turned pale. This is his most powerful killing move. True Qi uses the dragon and phoenix golden rings to form 2 sharp tornadoes. When gold and iron fall into the tornadoes, they will be turned into mud. The dragon and phoenix golden ring is listed in the weapon spectrum, precisely because this magic ring covers the sky. It's a move that can be said to be invincible at the same level and has no solution. The only weakness of this move is that after one move, all the true qi from the whole body is drained out, leaving it at the mercy of others. Shangguan Jinhong would never use this move unless he was desperate. Ancestor Yi's expression changed drastically. The tornado formed by the 2 true qi gave him the fear of facing a natural disaster. However, he had nowhere to turn. When he saw Shangguan Jinhong's pale face outside the tornado, Patriarchy showed a ruthless look in his eyes. Instead of retreating, he advanced towards Gangfang with his long knife in front. The long knife was caught in the strong wind and instantly turned into powder and scattered in the air. The Gangfang was somewhat consumed. He Laozu moved his left arm, and a circle of true qi surrounded his left arm. Then he made an astonishing move, turning his right palm into a sword, and actually cut off the root of his left arm. Holding his left arm in his right hand, he threw it at Shangguan Jinhong with all his strength. Everything happened in an instant. A jagged arm containing a faint hint of true qi passed through the strong wind and headed straight towards Shangguan Jinhong. Shangguan Jinhong's expression changed drastically. However, his true qi was exhausted and his speed was much slower. He only had time to turn to one side. PFF'd. The white bones passed through Shangguan Jinhong's belly and were exposed from behind, looking very terrifying. The ancestor of the He family was instantly annihilated by the strong wind and turned into silky powder floating in the air. Brother. The second ancestor of the He family was about to burst into tears. He ran towards the battlefield where the two were fighting. Seeing Shangguan Jinhong's tragic situation, everyone in the Qian gang broke away from their opponents and surrounded Shangguan Jinhong to protect him. Go to hell. The eyes of the second ancestor of the He family were red, and the money gang refused to retreat even an inch. Shangguan Jinhong said the word, withdraw, and fainted. Zhuge Shang shouted, retreat. How could the people of the He family be willing? The ancestor of the He family died and took most of Shangguan Jinhong's life before he died. This is the only chance to get rid of Shangguan Jinhong. Miss this opportunity. Not only are they unable to take revenge, the He family will also face revenge from the money gang at any time. The people of the He family were like chicken blood, and they were killing the people of the Qian gang one after another. The two ancestors of the Wang family were killed. Although they killed a lot of enemies under the venting attack, they also suffered heavy losses. Now that his mind is awake, he is thinking about the future of the Wang family. The Grandmaster realm is gone, and most of the innate are dead or injured. If there is further damage, let alone retaining the position of the four major families, I am afraid that they will not even have a foothold in Hangzhou City. At the signal of the head of the Wang family, the other innates of the Wang family began to deliberately preserve their remaining strength. The Grandmasters of the Lin family and the Zhou family are well preserved, and were outclassed by the He family in the past. Now that the strongest ancestor of the He family has passed away, the strength of the three families has instantly become balanced. The Lin family and the Zhou family are not as murderous as the He family towards the money gang. However, Shangguan Jinhong is the common enemy of several major families. Now that he was seriously injured, it was a good time to get rid of him. As for the money helping others, as long as Shangguan Jinhong is dead, the threat will be much smaller. Including those who joined one of the four major camps, in order to avoid future revenge from Shangguan Jinhong. All with the intention of beating the drowned dog. Focus on attacking Shangguan Jinhong's location. On the contrary, no one cared about the 12 Feipeng gang, Shen Dao Tang, Cinnabar gang and others. Several parties were already aligned for their own interests, and seeing that their defeat was certain, it would be a good idea not to add insult to injury. Shangguan Jinhong attracted everyone's attention. When someone broke up, the other three parties couldn't help but retreated one after another. The secret person who later joined the money gang ran away first when Zhuge Shang said he was withdrawing. If you fetch water from a bamboo basket but in vain, do you still want to leave your life here? One of our own people ran faster than the other, and the money helped everyone vomit blood in anger. Wu Ming, you lead the gang leader and go first, we will take the lead. There was chaos in the field, and Zhuge Shang shouted loudly. Without saying a word, Jing Wuming picked up Shangguan Jinhong and ran to the outskirts of the battlefield. The second ancestor of the He family wanted to pursue, but was blocked by the Grandmaster of the money gang. Once Shangguan Jinhong dies, the money gang will disband, and those former enemies will never let them go. Money helped Grandmaster grit his teeth and block the waves of attacks from the four major families. The strength gap between the two sides is too great, and there are only 4 Grandmasters left in the money gang. Zhuge Shang was beheaded by the angry second ancestor of the He family. Of the other 3 Grandmasters, except for one who was seriously injured and escaped, the other 2 also died during the siege. Not even one of the innate masters escaped. After this battle, the money gang's high-level combat power was in name only. In addition, Shangguan Jinhong was seriously injured and his life or death was uncertain. I am afraid that those fangs in the secret can no longer hold back. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.